Good morning, baseball fans. How you doing? How you doing? How are you doing? We got a little action possibly brewing on this fine Wednesday morning. Could Juan Soto be a Yankee? Good morning, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hello, hello, hello. We got over 130 people in the chat. I figured, you know what? Let's go live. Let's go live. We got some stuff brewing here during the winter meetings. Could Juan Soto finally be a New York Yankee? It seems like it is gaining steam, according to a couple of reports out here. And honestly, you know, it's funny. I was just talking with a good friend of mine, my best friend, and, you know, he's a big Yankee fan, and he was telling me, you know, hey, we don't usually see all of this news regarding a trade about, you know, how it's picking up steam. Usually it's pretty quiet, but kind of just look at what's going on here. And the reason I think that is because it's so obvious. Like, everyone knows that Juan Soto needs to be traded. The Padres need to cut payroll. The Yankees are the perfect fit. Out of all the teams out there, the Yankees, in my opinion, offer the most flexibility when it comes to a package, right? You know, we've been seeing those reports. Oh, the Padres want 8 players. They want 6 players. They want 18 players, right? But you always have to start there. You always have to start with a very high asking price. That's just simple negotiation. So everyone's freaking out. You know, they want this many players. And no, you always got to start there. And to me, you know, when we did a stream, I believe this past weekend, talking about the Juan Soto reports, that I was saying I wasn't surprised to see it like that. And, you know, considering it's been a slow offseason, all of these guys out here in the media, they're trying to just put anything they can out there for clicks. You have to remember that. These people that are putting out these reports for you, yes, they're doing a service, right? But they're also trying to get paid at the same time, right? This is a good chance for them to increase the clicks, right? Because it's a busy time. It's a popular time, right? So, you know, we're seeing anything and everything about anything at this point, right? Because we're looking for just something to bite into. And, so I'm not surprised to see any sort of information we can, you know, that they can get popping up on our screens. So let's kind of take a look here. We got a few different reports to dive into. We got 200 people in here. Thank you for stopping by. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. That's going to help out the algorithm. You know, I usually am not live at this time. So guessing a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, no, Robbie's not live right now. Like compared to last night, you know, we broke over 1,000 people last night, so thank you for that, everyone. We had a great show last night, and but usually I'm not live at this time, so people are not expecting it, right? So, but if you can help us get out in the algorithm likes the like button, so smash it for me. The goal is 200 for this stream, and hit the bell notification. Like I've told you, you never know when I could go live. And here I am, right? And share the stream if you can. And subscribe if you are new. Our sponsor for today is Underdog Fantasy, your number one stop for all your daily fantasy needs. The link is in the description down below. Promo code is HIDE. When you use that promo code, you get a double on your first deposit up to $100. I'll get to a little bit more Underdog in just a little bit. But let's get to it here, everyone. Let's get to it. Enough of me rambling. Let's get to the tweets that made me want to hop on here right now. So let's talk a little Jack Curry from the Yes Network. And I was saying last night, you know, Jack Curry to me has always seemed like a pretty solid source. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't got my feet planted fully in Yankee land over there, but seems like Jack Curry has always been a pretty reputable source. I could be wrong. But this is where it all started last night. Okay, so this is what he tweeted, right? The Yankees are continuing their efforts to acquire Soto from the Padres. While the two teams have been in a perceived stalemate, the Yankees are said to be trying to get a deal done. So that was last night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then we had this right around 12 hours later. about an hour ago, right? Jack Curry, as we reported on Hot Stove last night, the Yankees intensified efforts to acquire Soto. Those talks have continued, and a trade is likely. Keep an eye on King and Thorpe. Padres need pitchers, and those two could headline a trade. Would think the Yankees will part with 4 or 5 players. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Well, I think if it's 2, if they end up getting, because we've heard Trent Grisham, do they still get Trent Grisham after getting Verdugo last night? Not quite sure how they end up doing that. John Morosi saying here in Juan Soto trade talks, source confirms that Michael King and Drew Thorpe are key names in one proposal that could send Soto to the Bronx as early as today. So let's finish up with these tweets here. So again, he said the same thing, Drew Thorpe, Michael King, right? And then he continued on a couple minutes later. When a trade of this magnitude is being sorted out, many issues need to be resolved, including medicals. And when multiple pitchers are involved, those various injury histories need to be reviewed. It's all part of the process, right? So taking a look here, we just got a few different tweets coming in over the last 30 minutes or so. And we got John Morosi literally 51 seconds ago. And he says here, in Juan Soto trade talks, source confirms Michael King and Drew Thorpe are key names in one proposal that could send Soto to the Bronx, perhaps as early as today. Let me go back here. I feel like Feinsand had a little something a second ago. While a trade of Juan Soto is appearing very likely, a source said that Jake Cronenworth is also a potential trade possibility for the Padres. I've seen Jake Cronenworth, thrown around really amongst baseball fans out there. I've seen a lot of Padres fans say, hey, why not, just deal Cronenworth, right? Not a great year last year. Maybe he could be a fit. So not surprised to see maybe his name coming up. Oh, look at this. Actually, I didn't see this. This was about an hour ago. Ken Rosenthal, sorry, this is not Juan Soto here, but Craig Kimbrell close to a deal with the Orioles. Well, that's interesting. Didn't ever think Craig Kimbrell would go to the Orioles. My goodness. But we had Michael Marino 8 minutes ago. He says here, so Marino, he was on the show last week. 11 hours ago, Yankees and Padres seem to understand that there are many ways in a match for Juan Soto. That's what I was saying last night. I mean, to me, that's why I think the Yankees are the best fit, because there's so many different possibilities. And I honestly think, when we all saw the reports, right, the Padres, they want like 26 players from the Yankees. Well, what that meant to me is that you have so much flexibility at that point. When you have that many players that you could work with, that to me, it just feels inevitable that you're going to come up with some kind of a package, right? Whereas the Blue Jays, on the other hand, very limited in what they could offer, right? You could maybe argue possibly like the Mariners could have a possible package, right, where you got Bryce Miller, got Brian Wu. But do the Mariners want to take on the salary? I'm not sure, right? Or would they rather commit that salary to perhaps a longer-term deal, someone like Cody Bellinger, who they've been connected to in the last couple of days? So, but Marino, he did tweet 8 minutes ago. This carried long into the night and now into the morning. Now let's see if they can close the deal. 1 second, everyone. 1 second for me. Hold on 1 second. Just sending a quick text here. But here we go. So, Feinsand. I mean, they're all kind of going back to Jack Curry here, right? So talks between the Yankees and the Padres have heated up in the past day. Many are viewing the Yankees as the heavy favorite. The deal is likely. John Morosi, 14 minutes ago. Alex Verdugo is expected to stay with the Yankees in the near term, as opposed to being moved to the Padres in a Juan Soto trade that is gaining momentum. So that was another thing. I was talking, my best friend, he is a Yankee fan, big Yankee fan. That's kind of how we met, right? We were friends at school, right? Or we had seen each other in the hallways at school. I was wearing a Red Sox jersey one day. I believe this was like 7th or 8th grade. I was wearing a Red Sox jersey one day. He was wearing a Yankee jersey. And he walked by me saying, hey, man, hey, the Red Sox suck. And I was like, hey, man, hey, you know what? The Yankees suck. And, hey, we were friends ever since. So, anyway, he was talking to me, saying that he liked the move. And honestly, when you think about Verdugo with the Yankees, right? And I tweeted this out a little earlier. I actually made a pretty long tweet giving my thoughts, kind of broke it down. I was live when everything happened last night, so I never really kind of sat down and I gave my immediate reaction, but I always got to kind of process some things. But I put out a long tweet this morning, kind of going over just my overall thoughts. And for the Yankees, I said if the Yankees keep Verdugo, they get a high contact bat they desperately needed. They were 22nd in contact percentage last year, while Verdugo ranked 4th in contact percentage. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make the Yankees better, but it's going to give them a bit of a different look, right? The Yankees, they always just feel like they're so station to station, but the more you put the ball in play, go back to Little League, go back to, when you were playing in high school. At least my coach was always like, hey, put the ball in play, anything can happen, right? So that, to me, I think it just gives the Yankees something different. It gives them the lefty bat. You got left field there, right, or right field, sorry, for Verdugo. So maybe that could end up being a good fit. Verdugo's numbers at Yankee Stadium, surprisingly, haven't really been anything amazing. But, hey, maybe a full season at Yankee Stadium or a full half season at Yankee Stadium, maybe, you can see some different results, right? So I also put he can be streaky, right? So if you look at Verdugo last year in the first half, he was red hot at times, right? And then if you go to the second half, he completely fell off a cliff. It seemed like there were some off-the-field issues that maybe, who knows, were distracting him a little bit. I don't know. But something was different with Verdugo in the second half last year. But for me, at the end of the day, right, because of what he does with the bat, he brings a different skill set to the lineup. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be something different. And I think the Yankees, they just need to do some different things. But on top of that, the Yankees actually, they did not have a great defensive outfield last year, right? If you can see here what I listed, they had negative 26 defensive runs saved in the outfield last year. And Verdugo had 9 defensive runs saved, right? Okay, so everyone, I'm actually talking to my source that I got here. Everyone's probably thinking, oh, Robbie doesn't got any sources. I got one, all right? I got one. I got a pretty good one. So I said, hey, any news on Soto? And all he wrote back was, it's hot. It's hot. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But overall, yeah, I could see the argument for Verdugo simply just staying with the Yankees, right? A lot of people were thinking maybe he can just get flipped to San Diego. But honestly, I think for the Yankees, right, he just makes a lot of sense to stay there. And everyone's, also thinking, well, what about Jason Dominguez? When he comes back, what's going to happen? You got Aaron Judge out in right field, right? As of right now, you got Florial out in center, right? But at the end of the day, you could definitely still bring back Jason Dominguez and he'll insert into the lineup just fine, right? Is Florial going to be, is he going to give any sort of contribution to this Yankees team? Everyone's been wanting Estevan Florial to do something for the Yankees, right? And then they haven't really given him any sort of a chance. But right now, the way you look at it, right, at least right now at this moment, Verdugo does fit. But when Soto comes over, Soto's going to go into left. And then the word on the street is that Aaron Judge is going to go to center field, right? And then Verdugo will go out to right. I worry about that, man. That is something that worries me a little bit. I'm sorry, but Judge, he has not really shown to be a very durable guy, right? And that's a demanding position out there in center field. I don't know, man. Big guy like Judge, do I really want him running around out there, in center field, right? Not saying he can't do it, but that's just going to be a lot on the body, man. And I don't know. So, but on paper, yeah, it fits, right? You just put Soto in left, Judge in center, and then Verdugo out in right. Honestly, I feel like I'd rather just put Verdugo out in center field, to be completely honest with you, because Verdugo has shown to be a more durable player. I don't know. For me personally, I'd rather just put Verdugo out there in center field. Judge, I want to keep him from moving around as much as possible. To me, the dream scenario, it's definitely not going to happen. I don't see how it could happen. Somehow, some way, they unload Stanton. I just don't think it happens, honestly. And then you could have Judge playing a little bit of outfield and then also DHing. But I just don't see Stanton going anywhere. We got a super chat coming in. Alex Fernandez, how you doing, my friend? $4.99. To be fair, his healthiest year is when he was a full-time center fielder. Hey, you know what? You got a pretty good point there. You got a pretty good point. Let's go look at Aaron Judge. He has done well out there in center field, right? So if you go back, right, 2022, I think we can all say that was his best season overall. And he definitely played a lot of center field. So let's actually go there. Taking a look here. Center field in 2022, playing over 630 innings out in center field. And you look at the numbers, he had 1 defensive run saved, right? UZR of a 1.7. Yeah, he was fine. He's going to be fine out there in center field. Again, I just kind of wonder, I don't know, man. I know last year he basically crashed into a wall, so that's going to be a little different. All right, that wasn't, completely his body breaking down, but, he ran into a wall. But let's see. All I want is Judge to just be healthy at the end of the day. But yeah, if he can handle it, I think that works out, right? I think personally, dream scenario, somehow get rid of Stanton if you can. Get rid of Stanton, man. And then, yeah, Judge can DH a lot, but he can also go out there and play some outfield too. Another super chat coming in. $5 super chat. That was before the toe ligament injury. I'd be concerned to have him out in center field. That's another thing to look at too. All right. He got hurt there, right? So is it the best idea to throw him out in center field after that, right? He's got a full off season. Let's see. You never know, man. You never know. I just worry because when you injure something with your foot, I've kind of seen it before, right? Where when you have an injury to your foot of some kind, that could trickle into other things, right? That could end up maybe leading to knee issues, right? That could maybe even lead to hip issues, right? Your feet are your foundation, right? And if there's any sort of a weakness going on there, you can have a lot of other things overcompensate over time. So, let's see. Overall, yes, on paper, Judge works in center field. I just worry about the long-term durability for him. So, taking a look here, but one more thing with Verdugo. If you got Verdugo out in right, Judge in center, and then Soto out in left, and then you're thinking, well, what happens with Dominguez? Well, I honestly think what ends up happening is it just works itself out somehow, right? Guys are going to have to go on the shelf at some point, right? We've seen, obviously, that tends to be the answer for a lot of things. Guy goes on the IL, guy comes back, and then he takes back over that position, right? So let's say everyone's fully healthy, everyone's good, Dominguez is ready. But that's another thing you can think about with Dominguez too, is you don't have to rush him, right? You don't have to rush Dominguez at all, right? You can just have him take his time, right? So that's one positive that comes out of it. But let's say when he's ready to go, let's say he goes on that minor league rehab assignment and he's looking good. What do? Obviously Judge is not coming out of the lineup. Soto is not coming out of the lineup. So at that point, I think Verdugo, he just ends up becoming the fourth outfielder, right? Because to me, Dominguez, right? That's your future right there. And if Dominguez is tearing it up, well, then to me, I think Verdugo as your fourth outfielder, and it's not like you're paying Verdugo a ton of money, right? Verdugo is going to be making around $5 million. So with Verdugo, he ends up just becoming a fourth outfielder, and he's a lefty bat, so you could get him into the lineup, right, against right-handed pitching. So, it ends up kind of working itself out. And then CRAS951, they got Everson Pereira. So, what happens with Everson Pereira, right? He was having a really good year in the minor leagues, so could the Yankees maybe use him as a possible trade piece for something? Could he end up going back possibly in the Juan Soto trade? Could he end up being a piece there? All right, so we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see. What do we got here? What do we got? You got Andrew Lee, Michael Marino. What is Michael Marino telling us? What do we got? Michael Marino, what did you put for us, my friend? Yanks' understanding is Soto intends on hitting the market after the season. What many are wondering is does them potentially getting Soto change their financial willingness and tap out number on Yamamoto? Unclear as of right now. I think what Michael's saying is, are they going to be out on Yamamoto? What many are wondering is, does them potentially getting Soto change their financial willingness and tap out number on Yamamoto? Well, who knows? I think that's a good thing to think about, right? If they end up taking on the $33 million with Soto, are they still going to be in the market for Yamamoto? So let's go look at the payroll here, right? So as of right now, the Yankees' estimated payroll as of right now is $246 million. You're going to add Soto, so that right there, that's putting you right at around almost $290 million, right? So you're going to be at 280, right? You're going to be at 279, right? Am I doing math right in my head? My goodness, I cannot freaking do math in my head. 279, right? So that's a pretty high payroll at that point. And if remember, we're looking at the luxury tax thresholds, right? 237 for this year, then it's 257, then it's 277, right? So you're getting into that pretty high threshold for the luxury tax. So that's one thing to consider. What will the Yankees do there, right? If you do part with King, you're going to be getting rid of a little bit of salary, right? 2.6. So that could potentially keep you under that 277. But the Yankees still have other things to do, right? I'm guessing they're going to make some other moves. Going to add some kind of pitching, I would imagine. Could you maybe unload Anthony Rizzo somewhere? That's $17 million right there. Again, I think the dream would be to somehow get rid of Stanton, but I just don't see how that happens. Could you possibly even move LeMahieu? I don't know what kind of trade value he even has right now. Could you possibly move Gleyber Torres? I mean, do the Yankees, do they not even care about taking on all this salary? Are we back to the old Yankees, the George Steinbrenner Yankees? Who knows, right? But with Juan Soto, their payroll is going to be massive. Even if Michael King goes back to the Padres, Michael King is not making a whole lot of money, right? So you're still going to have a high payroll there. So let's take a look here. What are some possible packages that we could come up with? I've been kind of going over a ton of these packages lately. But let's come up with a few different ones, right? So let's say Yankees, Padres, Juan Soto. Let's put him on the Yankees. Here we go. All right, so with Juan Soto, you can look at anywhere from around 24, right around 30 million, right, for his value. And that's on top of his $33 million salary. So that's a really solid value, trade value for Juan Soto, considering he's making that much money, right? But remember, it is just 1 year. So we're seeing a lot of Michael King. We're seeing a lot of Drew Thorpe. I'm sorry. I will be pretty shocked if it ends up being these two guys going back. I mean, just these two guys alone, that's already massive, right? Michael King, you're looking at around a median value of $33 million. He could go as low as 25. So let's look at the low end, right? Let's say 25 plus 11. You're looking at 36. So I don't know, man. But then if you want to add some other pieces there, I think that's pretty tough, man. But, Jack Curry, he was also telling us that, you're looking at 4 to 5 players that are going to be going back to the Padres. So, who knows what we could even be adding out, what other pieces you could be adding in here. We've seen some other names like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito. Could you possibly send back Will Warren? You got some stuff that you could definitely send back. But again, it's like, what kind of a final number are we going to be looking at here? I don't know. Now, let's say the Padres, remember, we've seen some other names. We have seen guys like Trent Grisham. But I don't know. If the Yankees are planning on keeping Verdugo, I kind of have a hard time seeing Grisham going back, right? But let's say you did Cronenworth. Cronenworth right now, he has a negative value. His contract is pretty underwater at the moment, and the reason being, right, remember he signed that deal. He had a pretty bad year last year. Only hit 229, a 312 on base, 378 on the slugging. But if you look at the contract with Cronenworth, right, he's on a 7-year, $80 million deal, right? So that's, a pretty long commitment for the guy. He's not making, that's a pretty decent salary per year. But again, considering the numbers that he had last year, he's dropped off a bit, right? He had a really good year in 21, 22. Maybe the Yankees can do something different with him. But right now, his value is not great. So if you include Cronenworth with Soto, I mean, that's actually making the value of the package back for the Yankees that much. I mean, look how much worse that is now. They're only getting back around $3 million now, but again, the Padres, could they attach some stuff? I don't know. I have a hard time imagining, unless my potato brain is just not thinking about it. I don't know. Could there be some other pieces attached? Could some cash be sent back? Well, the Padres don't got money, all right? So I don't know. It's kind of hard to envision Cronenworth going back to the Yankees unless maybe you attach another piece. And then, if it's just Soto, I don't know. Me personally, it could end up just being this, right? Because we're seeing these two names so much. If it is Michael King, right now, that is considered a moderate overpay. Again, it's not saying Michael King is a better player for your team than Juan Soto. You're looking at the overall trade package, right? We have to differentiate the two, right? Juan Soto is obviously going to be the more impactful player, right? But remember, Michael King, 2 years of control, only making $2.5 million next year, and good numbers on top of that. So, I see you, Robertson. How you doing, my friend? I have not seen you for a while. How you doing? But could you do Michael King? Maybe you could do some smaller pieces on top of it. Let's say you just did Will Warren. Let's go back to Warren, just an example, or like a Brito or like a Vasquez. Could you do something like that? So looking at that, I don't know. I'll just throw Will Warren in there. So, that would still be in the ballpark. That would now be considered a major overpay. I just personally wonder if you're going to get Michael King and Drew Thorpe in the same package. Jason Voorhees? I'm sorry if I'm botching that, my friend. I'm not sure how to read that one. But $4.99 super chat. My Giants will spend big, like we have every year, and get Soler, Segura, Jock Peterson, and foreign we trust. Sounds like a Giants offseason, if you ask me. I have faith in the Giants. I have faith in the Giants getting some things done. It's, come on now. After all these off seasons of looking to just drop the cash, and then all of a sudden, and once again, they just don't get it done. That to me, it's like, come on, something's got to give, right? That's why I predicted Bellinger and Chapman for the Giants. I could see that. Could it end up being Ohtani, right? We've seen mostly the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, right? So, John Heyman, Marlins are listed. Let's go back to Twitter land here. John Heyman just putting something out here. Nope, that's not the right one. What do we got? Marlins are at least listening to trade talk on their fine stash of young starting pitchers. That includes Luzardo, Garrett, and Cabrera, right? I would imagine Trevor Rogers is going to be involved here. To me, I've been telling you, man, look out for the Marlins this week. Coming into the winter meetings, I was saying I think the Marlins definitely could be a team to look out for because they got pitching and they need bats. Honestly, I wonder if the Red Sox could be involved in some way. They need pitching. And when when you're looking at Craig Breslow and the things that he's looking for, he's been on record saying he likes swings and misses, right? He likes the velocity. Guys like Cabrera, I think, he's going to be cheaper than a lot of options out there because he hasn't fully figured it out in the major leagues. But I could see a guy like that. Honestly, I find Luzardo very interesting. Let's talk a little Jesus Luzardo. I'd be down with that if you could somehow get him. I mean, looking at the numbers from Luzardo last year, very good season for him last year. Just under 180 innings pitched, 3.58 ERA. I believe the FIP was much lower than that. I think was it in the twos? No, it was 3.55, so right around, right? But if you look at the strikeouts, 10 strikeouts per 9, right around 3 walks per 9. Luzardo was very good last year. I would love Jesus Luzardo. Let's actually put together a trade here. What could a trade for Jesus Luzardo look like? I would be all over it, man, if the Red Sox could somehow get it or get it done. Here we go. Let's see. What could this look like? Marlins. I mean, he's got a lot of value. A lot of value. Over $60 million worth of trade value. The Marlins, if they got rid of Luzardo, they'd get themselves a really nice package back. So with Luzardo, I believe he has a few years of control too. 24, 25, and 26. This would be great. We got a little something else from Jon Heyman. What else is Jon Heyman telling us? Rivals who've talked to the Brewers believe there's a decent chance they will move Corbin Burnes this winter. I mean, really, to me, the Brewers are one of those teams where they're always trying to compete, right? And with Corbin Burnes, obviously, he makes them better, right? I've said this before. It feels like the Brewers are going through some kind of a transition right now, right? You just lost your manager, right? They did just sign Chiriot, right, to that long-term deal. That guy's probably going to be the Corbin Carroll of last year, right? That guy's going to be really good. So I wonder if the Brewers just end up hanging on to him, because you got to remember, with what the Brewers could do, you could just keep him, right? And then you just offer him the qualifying offer, right? And then when he goes somewhere else, they'll get a draft pick out of it, right? So that's definitely something I could see the Brewers doing, right? We got a super chat coming in. DC Derek, USA, $10 super chat. Thank you, my friend. As a fellow Red Sox fan, do you have any faith the Red Sox do anything, or will it be all false promises and fancy rumors like last year? Here's my theory of why that was, right? And when you kind of connect dots, listen, I liked what Chaim Bloom did for the farm, right? I think Chaim Bloom was, if the Red Sox end up winning a World Series in the next few years, I think a lot of credit needs to go to Chaim Bloom, right? The problem with Chaim Bloom, at the end of the day, I was a Chaim Bloom fan. I'm not gonna feel ashamed about that. I did like Chaim Bloom. I thought he did a lot of good things to the organization. But the one thing that was noticeable with Chaim is it seemed like he just was never able to get the job done when it came to landing guys. One example for me that I've brought up many times is Zach Eflin. All right, Zach Eflin was a guy that, to me, I thought would have been a really nice addition to the team, and it seemed like the Red Sox were perhaps in the driver's seat at one point, and then you got beat out by the Rays. That, to me, I think, personally, and if you go back also, to the trade deadlines, the lack of moves. Even Chaim said himself, if he could go back and make some moves, he probably would. But the lack of moves at the deadline, but the Zach Eflin deal, to me, I think when you lose out to the Rays, who Zach Eflin ended up being their biggest free agent acquisition, that's embarrassing to me. Like, you lost to the Rays, right? Like, why couldn't you offer this guy a little bit more? So I think the thing that really held Chaim back in the end, and I'm sure he'll, learn from this experience whenever he goes to a different organization, if he ever becomes a president of baseball operations again, is he just was pinching pennies a little bit too much in my opinion, and I think he was just trying to win every single deal. I felt like he just tried so hard to win every single deal and every single free agent signing or lack of free agent signing, right? Where to me, when you're just trying to make your team better, you got to make those moves where you got to be a little risky too. You got to be bold. And I just don't think Heim was as bold as you needed to be that guy. All right. And I think he will be at some point in the future. Or maybe he ends up just going to one of these, smaller organizations at some point, and he can just keep doing what he's doing, and that'll work there. Right. But I think for Heim, his style just didn't fit Boston. Player development wise, yeah, that was terribly needed. He really needed that. But I just think the pinching the pennies, the lack of the moves at the deadline, losing out to the Rays for Zach Eflin, that's embarrassing. Like, you can't lose to the Rays for Zach Eflin, right? That's a guy, if you want to go get a guy, that's a guy that you go get, all right? You go beat the Rays offer easily, right? That's just my opinion. But now getting back to what you were asking me, DC Derek USA, if you look at how many rumors there were out there with the Red Sox last year, right? Look at all the rumors, right? The Red Sox were interested in this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. But I think that also ties in to kind of the lack of moves from Chaim Bloom, right? Sure, he made the phone calls. He showed the interest, right? Hey, we're interested in you. What's it going to take to get you? But I think that also kind of exposed Bloom in a way where they were making contact with all these guys, but he just never got the job done. All right. And I think that ended up kind of hurting him, right? You saw all the interest, but you never got anything done, really. Sure, you got some guys, right? You did land Trevor Story. That was the big one. But look how long that took, right? That was another thing, too. So in the end, I think it's going to be a little different with Breslow, because I think Breslow, that guy, I think he understands obviously the actual baseball side of things too, considering he was in the clubhouse. He knows what needs to be done to put a winning team out there. Listen, to me, you're never going to win a championship being safe, right? You need to go make those bold moves. And I think Breslow understands that, and I think he's going to make some moves, right? I hope I gave you as a good of an answer as you were looking for. I hope. Frankie Yankee. What a great name. Frankie Yankee. $5 super chat. If Cronenworth is included in the deal with Soto, could you see the Yankees trading Gleyber Torres for a starting pitcher? I could possibly see that. The only problem, I just pointed this out earlier, is that with Cronenworth, he's an underwater contract right now. He's getting paid over the next 7 years, $80 million, and he had a bad year last year. So his trade value at the moment is not good. It's in the negatives, -20, right? So when you combine him with Soto, that almost brings the total value of the package down to 0. So I don't see this, right? Like, I think Cronenworth, that's definitely a name, but who knows? Could there be other players attached? Could you maybe see a lot of, some cash involved? I don't know. I don't think it's impossible for Cronenworth to go, but I have a hard time imagining that you're going to attach Cronenworth with Soto, and then you're also going to send Michael King and Drew Thorpe. I have a hard time imagining that, right? And I don't think, to me at this point, if I'm just kind of going off of looking at rosters right now, I don't see why they would take Grisham back. I could see that if the Yankees were getting Soto and Grisham, then I could definitely see a possibility where you, give up Michael King and maybe even Drew Thorpe in the same package. But now that you got Verdugo, where's Grisham going to go? Maybe a third team could get involved. It's very possible. Who knows? But from my source that I have, and he was the one that told me about Alex Verdugo yesterday. He told me at around 10:30 in the morning yesterday. He told me that Verdugo was getting traded, right? And I didn't want to put anything out there because that's not my place. That's not my lane, right? But I knew something was happening yesterday, right? Didn't know when, though, right? I asked him just a little earlier. I said, what do you got on Soto? And all he responded was, it's hot, right? So got to think something's happening, right? But remember, with Verdugo yesterday, he told me right around 10:30 in the morning, which is right around that time now, right? And that deal didn't even end up getting done until last night. So could this maybe be something that ends up happening later tonight, all right? And this is a big name. This isn't Alex Verdugo here, all due respect. This is Juan Soto, all right? And there's going to be some bigger pieces being moved here. So you got to think, as Jack Curry was saying, there's going to be a lot. There's definitely going to be the medicals, right, that need to be exchanged. They need to look over these things, so that's going to be something they're really going to look into. When you have a player of this magnitude, yeah, you're going to have to do your due diligence on this one, especially if the Yankees are going to part with a lot of pieces that they really don't want to part with, right? And I do wonder if that could end up being possibly something that ends up happening. Sure, I do like the simulator, but I do wonder, whatever trade ends up happening, I wonder if the simulator ends up just rejecting it, right? You don't necessarily, baseball trade values at the end of the day, as much as a tool, as much as as good of a tool as that I think it is, I don't think it's the holy Bible, right, when it comes to making trades, right? I definitely think it's the best tool out there when it comes to putting together realistic trades, right? But you don't necessarily have to follow it. Sometimes maybe you just do some different things. There's been plenty of trades that have been rejected. They have around a 94% acceptance rate, but there is also that 6%, right, that has not been approved. So it definitely could be something that doesn't get approved. But we'll see, right? There were definitely some trades in the past that have involved the Yankees, actually, and a lot of them have been approved. So I wonder if that could tell us, and also, even actually, come to think of it, when I'm thinking about past trades that have involved the Padres, actually, a lot of Padres trades have not been approved, right? Go back to the Yu Darvish trade. That was not approved by the simulator. I believe, I can't remember exactly. There was one more big trade that they made. I don't think, there was another one that I can't remember exactly which one it was that was not approved, right? So we've definitely seen the Padres find ways to get deals done. Remember, go back the last few years. How many times have we said, like, how the heck is AJ Preller doing this? How the heck is he getting these teams to agree to these trades, right? So that's definitely happened. Could this be the same thing? However, with the Yankees, when it comes to the simulator, a lot of their trades have also been approved, right? Or have been approved compared to the Padres. So I'm actually interested what the final package ends up being. So what do we got here in the chat? We're just waiting here. I figured I'd come on for a little bit, everyone, and kind of, see if anything happens, because we've been getting some reports about Juan Soto here this morning, mainly from Jack Curry, saying here that things are really picking up and efforts have been intensified. So I figured I would come on this morning, kind of hang out with all of you, and see if anything breaks. And if we're live, then great. No matter what, though, if I end up ending the stream and then something, watch, that's going to end up happening, right? It's going to end up being, I hang out for like another 30 minutes, 60 minutes or so, and then I say, all right, everyone, I'll come back later, right? We'll be live later. And then as soon as I get done, bam, all of a sudden it happens, right? But what do we got here in the chat? Nick Kowal, how you doing, my friend? John Heyman, in about a half an hour probably. Juan Soto to the Giants. I love it. Please. I need the John Heyman tweet. I need it. What is it going to be this year? What is it going to be? Could, honestly, I think Juan Soto or a Juan Sofa, I could see that. Juan Sofa to the Yankees. Please, can we please get that? Juan Sofa to the Yankees. I need it. What do we got here? Ocean View Coffee Shop. Soto is overrated because of his defense. Well, Yeah, the defense is not very good with Soto, but the bat is really good, right? So the bat, that's bringing you a ton of value, right? So I think the defense kind of gets outweighed a little bit. Frankie Yankee, $2. If Soto is traded to the Yankees, they need to extend him. I agree, all right? And I think everyone knows at this point, Juan Soto has his sights set, not just Juan Soto, but Scott Boras has his sights set on free agency, right? But who knows? Maybe everything is going really well in the first couple of months of the season. We did see it with Mookie Betts and the Dodgers. Look how quickly an extension came together. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Juan Soto, and obviously Mookie was not with Boras, so that's definitely something. So, Soto, but could it end up being where, maybe the Yankees are playing really well. Soto is playing very well at Yankee Stadium. Everything is going great. Soto says to Boras, hey, I'm really liking it here, man. I think this is where I want to call home, for the next 10, 11, 12, maybe 13 years, right? Listen, Scott Boras works for Juan Soto. Scott Boras can advise Soto all he wants. Like, hey, listen, Juan, free agency, man, that's where I think you need to maximize your value. But if Juan says, listen, I appreciate that, but you work for me. Go get me the best deal that you can get. Let's see if we can get an extension done with the Yankees. It comes down to if Juan Soto wants to play for the Yankees long term, then yeah, it'll get done, right? We've seen Scott Boras before. I'm going blank on the extensions that he's gotten signed before, but it has happened, right? Was Chris... No, I don't think... No, that wasn't one. But it can happen. I'm not going to count that out at all, right? What else we got here in the chat? What else we got? Anthony, how you doing? Anthony Manzano, how you doing? Robbie, is this realistic in your opinion? Miami can give San Diego, Edward Cabrera, and Trevor Rogers and a top-level prospect like Thomas White for Juan Soto. Nah, Juan Soto's not going to the Marlins. They're not doing that. They're not taking on all that salary. Definitely not. At least I would think. That'd be hilarious if somehow could you imagine the breaking news? Juan Soto is going to the Marlins in a shocker. Goodness gracious. That'd be hilarious. But I don't see the Marlins doing that. I don't really see... Yeah, it'll make their team... It'll make their lineup better. All right? But for the Marlins, it's not worth it. Right? Rolling with Rock. How you doing, my friend? Do you think the Orioles signing Kimbrel is a sign the Orioles are finally willing to make moves, or will this be the only big splash? When it comes to Craig Kimbrel, I mean, I like it. I think that's a good arm, to add there, right? Who knows, what's going on with Batista there. So I think it's good for them. I did see the Orioles adding some kind of an arm for the bullpen, right? I thought, could they do Jordan Hicks? But the Orioles, man, they just don't really want to seem to unload the big bucks. All right, let's see if we got anything else here. What do we got? Foolish Baseball tweeting out. Hey, we got the Rule 5 draft. Got the Rule 5 draft. Don't forget about the Rule 5 draft, everyone. But we don't have anything new when it comes to Soto. Nothing new. But let's get back to some possible trades. Let's see. Could we maybe work something out? Now, instead of Michael King, I have talked about this before. Everyone's probably going to roll their eyes now at this. But if you didn't do Michael King, you could do someone like a Clark Schmidt, who's also a starter, has a lot of control, right? He has a decent value, all right? Could you maybe do Clark Schmidt? Maybe you could add Drew Thorpe at that point. I think that's a little bit more digestible, in my opinion, right? Clark Schmidt and Drew Thorpe, right? And then you could add, possibly a couple other pieces here. You could do Randy Vasquez, right? Maybe even throw in Will Warren, right? I mean, that's getting a little far, right? And that would be rejected by the simulator, right? But you could see, and maybe instead of Will Warren, you could do someone, or instead of Randy Vasquez, maybe you could do Will Warren. So that is still in the major overpay territory, right? But remember, we're hearing reports that it's going to be 4 to 5 players, right? So I think you could definitely still add something, right? Could you do maybe Johnny Brito? You're getting a lot of pitching here for the Padres, so that would be rejected, all right? But, maybe you could go, someone a little further down the line, maybe someone like Clayton Beeter. and that would still be in the major overpay territory, right? Again, if we're looking for a trade that's approved by baseball trade values. I'm not saying it has to be this way, but if you want to try and get something approved here, it's not going to approve Michael King, Drew Thorpe. You could definitely get something approved on here if it's Clark Schmidt and Drew Thorpe, right? So you definitely have a lot more wiggle room there. What do we got here? Prime Time KG, $5 super chat. How do you feel on Ohtani's situation? I feel it's not too crazy to feel like he returns to the Angels. Listen, I've been saying from the get-go, I'm not counting out the Angels until the fat lady sings, right? I'm not counting them out. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of steam on the Blue Jays. The Dodgers, well, my goodness, I started getting a phone call, and I'm like, it's someone here, someone calling to tell me something. But where was I? Yeah, obviously the Dodgers, right? They've been what feels like the number one contender for Ohtani, but then Dave Roberts yesterday speaking his mind, right? And I actually had a good comment this morning from that stream last night saying, you know what, I think the Dave Roberts comments are a little overblown. I mean, I kind of agree, honestly. I don't think it's that big of a deal because it's all going to come out anyway, right? I mean, come on. Like, everyone knows the Dodgers are attached to Ohtani. And he also said, and, if that does end up affecting the Dodgers' chances, well, hey, that's on Ohtani at the end of the day, right? So, to me, I just think, I guess it really just depends on what Ohtani thinks about it, right? Who knows if he, didn't like that, or if his agents didn't like that, or whatever. Who knows? But, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone knows the Dodgers have been attached, right? But then we also saw reports where Andrew Friedman was caught off guard, supposedly, that Dave Roberts even made those comments. So there's that to think about, too. There's a bit of a disconnect there, right? If you go back to the Dave Roberts comments when he was making them yesterday, he actually hesitated a little bit before he said that they met with them, right? Remember, he started talking a little bit. Someone said, like, hey, have you met with Ohtani? I can't remember the exact question. And then he started talking, and then he paused, and then he said, yeah, we met with him this past weekend. All right, so he kind of thought about it, all right, and he just came out with it. I think it'd be hilarious if he ends up signing with the Blue Jays, and it ends up coming out that ended up, not being something that Ohtani's camp liked. I think that would be hilarious if that ends up happening. That's so funny to me, right? Dave Roberts, man. Dave Roberts. But I always love Dave Roberts. Always. He stole us that base back in 2004. That's all that matters. Anthony Manzano, Robbie, when you use the trade value simulator, are you using the basic version or are you signed up for it where you can use the fair value option? Yeah, I have a subscription here, everyone. And since you brought that up, right now, everyone, in the description down below, I put a link for baseball trade values. And right now, for the subscriptions, if you use my code HIDE, you get 10% off a yearly subscription. So if you're interested in it, definitely go check it out, right? And when it comes to the subscriptions, there's a lot of perks that come along with it, especially if you do the general manager subscription, right? You get all these perks, right? It's ad-free, it's faster, right? You get the value matcher, which it kind of finds you players, right, that can kind of make trades a bit easier to do instead of you digging in, right? You can do the general manager overrides, right? A whole bunch of different perks that you get here. You can do the player rankings. You can, where you can also look at possible future contract extension numbers, right? Where if you wanted to look up a player or like a younger player, like what could a contract extension look like for this player? Right, and it'll actually spit out a number for you, which is pretty cool in my opinion. You can look up future trade values for players, and you can even look up future free agent contracts for those players. Right, so there's a lot of perks for it, so definitely go check it out. Again, Holidays right around the corner. 10% off. Maybe give yourself a gift, right? So use the code HIDE. What else we got here? Buster Olney. What is Buster Olney telling us? Buster Olney. I do not follow Buster Olney. I probably should. Especially around this time of the year. I feel like Buster Olney, I don't know. I'm just seeing other guys where, you know, they're just a little more reputable, if you ask me. What did Buster Olney say? He just retweeted something about what did Anthopoulos say? Let's take a listen to Anthopoulos here. He did talk about Ohtani. Let's see what he said.
Can't speak. I say this. I guess that's it. I can't talk obviously about any free agents at all. What I can tell you is that we have not. We are very happy with our position player group. We had a very good offense last year. We've only pursued one position player this offseason. That was Jared Kelnick, that we were able to get a deal done. And we have not explored any other position players in any capacity at any time. I can't.
Well, hey, that's the answer that you got to give. Dave Roberts did not want to go with that approach. So, yeah, that's kind of the exact answer that I would imagine he would say, right? Alex Anthopoulos has always been close to the vest. Always. What does iTalk got? iTalk Studios, he put something out yesterday, right, about Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and, that's one where I'm okay if the Red Sox end up adding Lourdes. I'd be okay with it. He's basically, at this point, with the bat, he's a younger Justin Turner. Really. Oh, hey, look at this. So, when it comes to iTalk Studios, he has broken some things before about the Red Sox. And I do believe iTalk Studios. I have talked with him, and he does have a little something, right? And he's gotten stuff done, or he's gotten stuff reported before that ended up getting done. And so he did say this about Jordan Montgomery. Well, this is interesting because yesterday we had a report that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was the top priority for the Red Sox. And he says here, Jordan Montgomery is a priority for the Red Sox. So what it sounds like to me, it sounds like Yamamoto is probably at the top of their list, and I would think Jordan Montgomery is probably right behind him, right? If you go back to very early in the offseason, I've talked about this. Jordan Montgomery, he was one of the first stories of the offseason where the Red Sox, they showed early interest in him, right? And now with Montgomery, he is a guy that's going to be staying in Boston for the offseason because his wife is, I believe she's in dermatology school, right? And she's doing her clinicals there. So he's going to be in Boston, so he's going to have an idea of what it's like in Boston. And another thing with Montgomery, pitching with the Yankees those years, right? So he definitely has experience in the AL East. I think it makes a lot of sense for Montgomery and the Red Sox to come together on a deal, right? He's like a solid pitcher that you can add to your rotation. I don't think he's a top of the rotation guy, but I think he's a really good 2 or 3, right, in the rotation, right? You can definitely argue as a 2. To me personally, I would love a rotation. I'm kind of dreaming here. I'm dreaming out loud. Yamamoto, Montgomery, Brian Bayo, right? 1, 2, 3. Then you got Sale as the 4, right? That would be amazing to me. And then however you work out the 5th spot, could that be Pivetta? Could that be Howe? Could that be Whitlock? Yeah. You can always work out the 5th spot, or Cutter Crawford, right? Whatever ends up happening there. But to me, I think the dream offseason for the Red Sox is to land Yamamoto and Montgomery, right? That's dreaming big, though. That's dreaming big. That's definitely something. It's gonna take a lot to get that done. Did we get anything else? Had something from John Heyman here. He posted a podcast talking to Soto, Ohtani. Daniel Greenberg. White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf met yesterday with the mayor of Nashville. That's interesting. Interesting. I'm kind of thinking about that right now, right? Nashville, they've been looking for an expansion team. Honestly, I think Nashville is a great spot for a baseball team, right? It's just perfect, right? Nashville is a growing city, man. Like, that to me would be perfect, right? At some point, I do think they will get a team, but I find it interesting that Jerry Reinsdorf met with the mayor of Nashville. And who knows? Maybe the White Sox, they're thinking maybe moving at some point. Who knows what that could be? Who knows? About imagine it could be something along those lines. So, anything else on Soto? Not quite sure if anything's going to happen here. But I figured I'd come on today, kind of just, we saw some news going on earlier, right? Where Jack Curry saying here, there's some momentum picking up. Talks were intensifying. I got my guy saying things are hot. All right, so let's see. What could end up happening. But, let's get back to a couple of trade proposals here, where the one that I think is the most realistic, I have a hard time. I've said this a million times. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it one more time. I have a hard time imagining it's going to be Michael King and Drew Thorpe. I'm not saying it can't happen. It definitely can happen, right? That's one thing with Preller that we've seen before. He really, really gets a lot in a package, right? He has definitely proven that he can find ways to get what he wants, right? And he definitely has a big piece here. So, but when I'm looking at it from a realistic point of view, personally, I think it's either Michael King and maybe a couple other pieces, or it's Clark Schmidt and Drew Thorpe. So, but we've been hearing a lot about Michael King. We've been hearing a lot about Drew Thorpe being in the same package. Let's see if it ends up being those two guys. All right. What does Nightingale got for us? Nightingale, what do you got? Felt like it was getting a little hot there for a second. Here we go. Nightingale's got something. Bob Nightingale, the Yankees and the Padres trade talks involving Juan Soto have gained some momentum, creating cautious optimism a deal can be consummated in the next few days. Few days? Days? I mean, how about a few minutes? Maybe a few hours? Days? I don't got days. I mean, I definitely have days. But come on, I don't want days. I want minutes. I want something by noon. I want to eat some lunch here soon. I'm just saying. Well, I mean, honestly, is this really any different than what Jack Curry said? I mean, it's really nothing different. Just seems like Bob Nightingale is kind of just jumping into the party. Did Bob just wake up? Honestly, did Bob actually just wake up? His last tweet was 4 hours ago. Did this man go to sleep at like 7:30 in the morning? Well, he did tweet something out 12 hours ago, and then he tweeted out something 4 hours ago. Who knows? Was it possible Nightingale was just up all night, fell asleep, and then he woke up and saw the reports of Soto, and then he just tweeted something? That's funny. What do we got? CRAZ951. Juan Soto stays in San Diego. Confirmed? I don't think so. Even if it is Nightingale definitely he has definitely screwed the pooch on some moves before. I always think of Trevor Bauer and the Mets, man. But remember when Nightingale redeemed himself during the lockout? That dude was out there handing out bagels to people. I think he didn't even hand out piece of pizza to people. Remember Nightingale was like all over the lockout news, and the character arc of Nightingale right in front of our eyes, right? Just the character development, man. He went from the bad call with Trevor Bauer and the Mets. All of a sudden, people were loving him during the lockout. That was hilarious. Nicholas, how you doing, my friend? I don't know if I trust any of these beat reporters. Remember, it is their job at the end of the day. It's their job, right? They got to put stuff out there for the clicks. I do wonder if there is any sort of like a quota or anything that they have to meet. Like, do they have to like meet like a certain amount of tweets or something per month? I wonder. John Morosi, what has John Morosi got? John Morosi, what are you doing for us, buddy? Give us something. Oh, here we go. A little something on Yamamoto. He's expected to meet with the Yankees on Monday. The Yankees are seen as one of the top candidates to sign Yamamoto along with the Red Sox, Giants, Dodgers, and Cubs. So, remember, we just saw a report a little earlier, right, from Michael Marino. Does signing or bringing in Juan Soto in the $33 million, which is going to put their payroll up in the $275 range, will they want to put on Yamamoto's salary as well? But they have a meeting with him, or at least they're expected to, right? But nice to see my Red Sox are involved. Thank you. It's nice to see a reporter out here keeping the Red Sox. And Morosi, I feel like, is the only one that's been actually connecting the Red Sox and Yamamoto. We've seen Passan too, right? But Heyman, Nightingale, neither of those guys have been mentioning the Red Sox, right? So I think John Morosi actually tweeted out something yesterday about Yamamoto. Yeah, he tweeted out yesterday, is one of the Red Sox top priorities, right? And then we just had iTalk tell us that Montgomery is also a top priority. So, hey, look at that. But this would be, could you imagine the Yankees? They add Juan Soto, $33 million, and then you sign Yamamoto to $25 million per year minimum. I mean, you're looking at you're over a $300 million payroll at that point. But hey, listen, if the Yankees, if they want to put a winning team back on the field, I do think it starts from within, right? They do have to do some different things with their team now. But I also think, they're going to have to add some quality talent at the end of the day. And hey, look at what they did with Tanaka. They ended up working out great. So, Yamamoto for them would be fantastic. Hey, Zach G, I see you. Yamasoto. That'd be, honestly, has a good ring to it. And Steve-O, I agree. They can afford it. They're one of the richest franchises in the world. All right? George Steinbrenner, I mean, my goodness, over the last few years, sorry, but that man has been rolling in his grave. Thinking like, what the heck are the Yankees doing here? What are they doing? Go out and go get the guy, right? And like last year, bringing in Carlos Rodon, sure, I did like the move, but there was a lot of risk to it, and we saw how that unfolded this year. Whereas, a couple of years ago, I'm thinking, why did they not just break the bank for Kevin Gausman? Like, that was a guy you should have brought in my opinion. I'm just saying. Is Michael K saying anything? Nate Flynn, I am using Chrome. You're saying here, Nate Flynn, why does Robbie not use Chrome? I am using Chrome. What is Michael K saying? Let's go pull up Michael K. You got anything? I like Michael K. What's he telling us? Doesn't look like he's tweeted out anything today. Well, he did go on the Yes Network last night with Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge in the prime of their careers. You have to take advantage of that. He's got a point, man. He's got a point. Garrett Cole, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, they're wasting some really good years from Garrett Cole. Goodness gracious. So, yeah, Juan Soto, absolutely. You got to go get that deal done. It's going to get done. It's just, in my opinion, it's just a matter of when. It's not if, it's when. So I'm just here hoping that something breaks, right? He Struck Man has become a member for the 17th straight month. But yeah, Michael K, he's all over it, man. Michael K, he came up with all those years during the George Steinbrenner era. Hal Steinbrenner, on the other hand, I don't know. He's doing things differently. We got anything from any of the other top guys out here? We just had Morosi 5 minutes ago. Nothing really else. But we'll have to see if anything unfolds today. But kind of just circling back here to the very beginning. I remember Jack Curry last night saying that they had entered back into talks, right? And then he tweeted out a couple hours ago that the Yankees intensified efforts last night to acquire Soto. Those talks have continued, and a trade is likely. Keep an eye on King and Thorpe. Personally, I think it's going to be one of those guys. I'm probably wrong, but to me, and at least, when I'm looking at it from an economical point of view, I just feel like both is going to be too much. I could see Schmidt and Thorpe. Maybe do Schmidt, Thorpe, Vasquez, Brito, maybe Will Warren you could throw in there. So I could see that. Padres need pictures, and those two could headline a trade. Thinking the Yankees are going to part with 4 or 5 players. All right. A couple super chats. My goodness. Couple super chats. Matthew Villarreal, $4.99. Soto, Grisham for Verdugo, King, and Thorpe. Parted. Padres re-signed Snell. Are Padres better than last year? The Padres, what the Padres are basically trying to do is they're trying to replace Soto's production with cheaper options, but in different ways, right? They're trying to replace his production with pitching. And, I think they're going about, if they have to really cut payroll, I think they're going about it the best way possible, right? If you're looking at, Juan Soto last year, overall, I believe he had he had a Fangraph WAR in the 5s. Had a 5.5 Fangraph WAR. So basically what they're trying to do is they're just trying to get those wins in other ways while also saving the $30 million. So we'll see. But yeah, Grisham, I don't think Grisham is going to go. Verdugo, it looks like he's staying, according to reports. And I could see that. I thought about last night, could he just be flipped? But honestly, the more I think about it, I think that's a bat the Yankees need. He's a different type of bat. He's a lefty bat. If Dominguez comes back, well, then you got a bit of a lefty-righty, platoon. Not a platoon exactly. I think Dominguez would probably get the majority of the playing time. But Verdugo would be a nice 4th outfielder to have on the bench, in my opinion. He'd be a good lefty bat, right? And he'd bring you some good defense. I think Verdugo would be really nice for that team. But you're also saying Padres re-signed Snell. Losing Snell, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough. I wonder if they give him the money. I keep thinking back to the payroll thing. I just think they're going to try and look for some cheaper options. They could definitely still do it at the end of the day. I just wonder, man. They got a lot of payroll that they want to clear. And they got to go out there and they got to get some stuff done. But I could definitely see it. If you're going to unload Soto, well, then, yeah, you could definitely keep Snell in for the long haul. But, yeah, I think the Padres, at the end of the day, I think they're going to be better than what they were this past year. Remember, they got really hot there at the end. I think it's a good team. I just don't think they were fully together last year. I just felt like something was off with that team. Personally, that's just how I felt with that Padres team. New manager now, Schilt. I think Schilt is a guy that's going to be a good glue for that team. If you go back to those Cardinals teams, he was a guy that always got those guys revved up, ready to play. All right, I think Schilt is going to be a good manager there. I think the Padres will be better, even without Soto. I know that might sound crazy. I just think they're going to go after this in a different way, but also just trying to save money at the same time. William Fulgham, $4.99. You have to remember Cole will opt out after next year and want more money. Yeah, you got a good point there. Could Cole end up going back out into the market? All right. But remember, the Yankees, they can add the club option to void the opt-out, right? Now, could the Yankees maybe think, I don't know, do we want to add the option, right? Because at the end of the day, he's 33 now, but he's still, if he just won a Cy Young, right? So I would think that's something they would probably end up doing. They'd probably just add that club option back in to void the opt-out. So I could see them doing that, especially coming off a Cy Young season. It doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. All right, so I think that's what they end up doing personally. We got CJ LaChapelle. Hey, Ballcap Sports has signed up yet again for a membership. Ballcap, how we doing, my friend? How we doing? The 20th straight month, my friend. Thank you. CJ LaChapelle, $10 super chat. Just last night, a Braves reporter said that last offseason, the Braves tried to extend Fried, but he did not like the offer. How much of a grain of salt should I take this? Listen, one thing you got to think about with the Braves is they look at all the extensions that they've done, but they haven't done it with Fried. I don't know. I think that could say something. I wonder if Fried ends up being there for the long haul. I don't know, man. I would love for them to keep Fried, but the guy, you got to remember at the end of the day, you know, he's been pretty up and down with injuries, you know, and do the Braves see him as a guy that, you know, they think is going to be good for them down the road, right? Who knows? Groovy T, how you doing? Yankees can forget about Soto if they aren't willing to give up all of King, Thorpe, and Dominguez. Now, they're not getting rid of Dominguez. We've been seeing a lot of King and Thorpe. I don't think Dominguez ends up going. But could that end up being... Could we end up getting shocked, right? You know, we've been seeing... How many times before have we seen, like, certain names being thrown out there? I'm going blank on certain examples. But how many times have we seen, you know, something where we're seeing names getting thrown around and that ends up not being those names? You know, could we end up being shocked and maybe somehow Dominguez is involved? I would guess no, because the Padres want pitching. All right, that seems to, and it's not even just based off of reports. If you just look at the team, they need pitching. That's not a secret, right? You got Musgrove and Darvish. I think that's okay for the top of the rotation. Darvish needs to be healthier for next year. But you got to remember with Darvish, right? He's 37. Right? He's not getting any younger. So, you know, they probably really want to... Like, I think that's why they want King, is because that's a guy that could be a 3 in the rotation for them. So, it's no secret, right? I mean, if you're going into the season with a rotation of Musgrove, Darvish, Waldron, Avila, and Groom, I mean... You really need pitching. So I just don't think, I personally don't think Dominguez is going to be involved. Groovy T, King is a bullpen arm. Yes, he was a bullpen arm, but he transitioned to being a starter last year. And people that want to argue that he won't work out as a starter, well, look how good he did in the rotation last year. And if you need an example of a guy over a full season, just look at Seth Lugo. All right. Corey, do you think the Blue Jays trade Manoah? I wonder, because it seems like that could be maybe a change of scenery kind of a thing. I wonder. The one thing with Manoah is he's lost a lot of value. He still has some, right? It wasn't too long ago that he did well. All right, he was doing really well, actually. But look at what happened to him last year. So that really killed his value right there from a performance point of view. But he's still pretty cheap. He has a lot of years of control, and he's not far removed from that success that he had. So he still has something. Brandon Cootie's got something for us. What do we got here? We got a little something. All right. We got a couple of things. Oh, no, this is one. All right, so this is from Joel Sherman. The Yankees have been softening on the idea of surrendering Michael King. They're also willing to include Thorpe, I'm told, though it's unclear whether they would do both at the same time. I swear I've been saying that pretty much this entire stream. I don't think it's going to be both. I just think it's too much. If you just did the two, then yeah, I could see that, right? But you want to do those two? You want to do a couple more pieces? I don't see that happening. I don't know, man. I have a hard time imagining that you're going to get King, Thorpe, and then some prospects on top of it. I don't know. NJL, do you think the Nationals make a big move? No. I could see them making moves, right? But they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the market, at least in my opinion, right? Could they go out there? Maybe. But the Nationals, they got stuff going on with ownership right now, like selling the team. So, who knows, if they end up doing anything. Michael Marino's got something else for us. What do you got, Mr. Michael? Looks like he's got his own thoughts on something. I'll be the first to say it. The Yankees being open to moving Michael King is a big deal. Don't think he gets enough praise. He's exceeded expectations in varying roles. His two-seam fastball is nasty. Would be a great get for the Padres. It would. And people need to honestly, I've been the one saying for a while, you need to give more respect to Michael King, right? This is a guy that was really good for the Yankees. Look at how good he was in the bullpen. And then look at how good he did in the starting role. He definitely needs more respect. And you have him for 2 years. That's a really good guy to get. So let's get back here. Let's go back to the trade board. All right. Let's do Michael King one more time. What else we got here? Got something else from Michael Marino. The Mets are in on Yamamoto. So that's another update from Marino. Here we go. Everyone, be on the lookout. We're going to be looking to have Michael Marino back on the show at some point, possibly this week. So be on the lookout for that. So here we go. Let's put Michael King back in. And so just Michael King. It's right now considered a moderate overpay. But let's put some other pieces in. Let's not do Drew Thorpe. Let's actually pull up here. Let's pull up some top prospects for the Yankees. So what are some pieces here that maybe they could throw in, right? And this is just pipeline. I personally prefer Baseball America. It's just easier to just get to pipeline. It's just popped up right there in front of you. So, if we're looking at Thorpe's numbers last year, Thorpe has a good build for a starter, 6'4". The fastball is not going to, blow you away, but it's fine for the most part. He has a really good slider, an excellent changeup, and he's got good control. This is a guy that you would love to have, right? So it says here, Thorpe owned one of the best changeups in the 2022 draft, earns double-plus grades from some scouts for his ability to get swings and misses. While his fastball features below-average velocity, peaking at 95, but it has sink, right? So Thorpe, when you look at the numbers, he was really good last year. Look at the year that he had last year in the minor leagues. High A, over 18 starts, had a 2.81 ERA, 138 strikeouts compared to 33 walks. But he was even better in 5 starts at Double A. He was 4-0, a 1.48 ERA. That's really good. So it's understandable that any team would want Drew Thorpe. Look at the success that he had, right? It was a small sample in Double A, but still a lot of promise there. But let's say the Yankees are like, no, we'll give you Michael King, but we're not going to give you Thorpe, right? So you got to kind of maybe go down a little bit, right? Someone like Will Warren, I think, is someone. He had a pretty good year in the minor leagues, and he pitched in AAA last year. So Will Warren, this is a guy that could be pretty close to Major League ready, right? He's not as big as Thorpe. He's a little smaller, 6'2", 175. But, if you had a choice where you did Clark Schmidt and Drew Thorpe or Michael King and Will Warren, what do we got? Oh, Rosenthal? What? Oh, no. What am I missing? What's happening? Did something happen? Rosenthal, what do you got? Something happened? Everyone's saying Rosenthal. Heyman. Oh, Heyman. The Yankees and the Padres are said to be making significant progress on a Juan Soto deal. No word it's done or official yet. I feel like we're seeing the same report over and over again. It's the same thing. What has Hector Gomez got? Hector Gomez. Morosi. What is Morosi saying? Morosi's not saying, or he said something 53 seconds ago. Shohei Ohtani is expected to decide on his free agent destination before the end of the weekend. The end of the weekend. Well, that's good because I do got some plans next week that I would like to do. So please, Ohtani, can you please sign by the end of the weekend? My goodness. But we do got a little something here from John Heyman. Again, it feels like more of the same. Yankees and Padres are said to be making significant progress on a Juan Soto deal. No word it's done or official yet. Now, what does this mean? Is this more of what Jack Curry was saying? Let me close. No, it's the right one. So Jack Curry, as we reported on Hot Stove last night, the Yankees intensified efforts to acquire Soto. Right, we just had something from Michael Marino. Let's go to that one. Michael Marino. We got over 600 people in this chat. Everyone, the like goal for this stream was 200. We're at 300 likes. We're at 300 likes. I'm going to update the like goal, everyone. Can we get to 400 likes? Can we get to 400 likes? That's the new like goal. Real quick, let me just update this for you. Can we get to 400 likes? I will love you forever if we can get to 400 likes. There we go. New poll is up. You can answer it. And in the last poll, 77% of you said yes. So, hey, I love you. I love you. But back to this. So Jack Curry last night said Yankees intensified efforts to acquire him. Those talks have continued and a trade is likely. And then Heyman just put that the Yankees and Padres are said to be making significant progress on a Juan Soto deal. So I don't know. It's kind of around the same. It's a little the same. Is this something he's hearing in the last 5 minutes? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Who knows what's happening? 1 second, everyone. Just checking something over here. So I don't know. It could be maybe a different report that Heyman was getting from Jack Curry. But I think the key word here is significant. Significant progress. So we got something from Hector Gomez. Hector Gomez. What is Hector Gomez saying? Hector Gomez, what do you got? I don't think who. Hold on 1 second. Hector Gomez. What is his Twitter? I'm typing in Hector Gomez in the search, but it's not coming up. That is not the right Hector Gomez. Here we go. What has he got? Hector Gomez. He's an interesting one. So he said here, a person very close to Juan Soto. Yankees trade for Juan Soto is almost done. They're just waiting for the medical records to clear. Right? And we have gotten this morning. right? We have gotten this morning. And, remember Jack Curry mentioned that? If you go back to his original tweet, he did say where after this initial tweet, he put out that, it takes a lot of, it's not as easier said than done, right? You got to get a lot of the medicals to clear, right? He said here, when a trade of this magnitude is being sorted out, many issues need to be resolved, including medicals. And when multiple pitchers are involved, those various injury histories need to be reviewed. And we got a lot of pictures for the Padres right now. A lot of pictures for the Padres right now. So, 1 second, everyone. I'm just going to share the stream on Twitter. Let's just try and get some more people in here. 1 second. Everyone, if you can, share the stream anywhere you can. Post it on X, post it on Facebook. Let's try and get some more people in here. Let's try and get a big old party for Juan Soto. Big old party for Juan Soto. Man, oh man. And you know what one factor I'm leaving out here? One factor that I'm leaving out is, my goodness, I don't want Juan Soto to go to the freaking Yankees. So we got to deal with Juan Soto this year? I don't want that. Come on. Will Salmon. What is Will Salmon putting? Will Salmon. Who the heck is Will Salmon? Will Salmon. Mets owner Steve Cohen flew to Japan last week to meet with Yamamoto. That's interesting. Man, Steve Cohen going all the way to Japan. Honestly, hey, that's a good owner right there. That's what I think owners should be doing. That's what I think. So, Will Salmon's with The Athletic. Okay. I didn't know that. I'm going to follow Will Salmon. Let's follow Will Salmon. But let's get back to it here. We're on the lookout for a Juan Soto trade. Hector Gomez says a trade is almost done. They're just waiting for the medical records to clear. Isn't this a photoshopped image of Juan Soto? If I remember correctly, I feel like this is a Photoshop. Was this a Photoshop of Juan Soto when he first got traded? I could be wrong. But we had a little something from John Heyman. The Yankees and Padres are said to be making significant progress on a Juan Soto deal. No word it's done. I mean, I got to imagine here, there's a lot of pitching going back and forth, right? Or not back and forth, but going to the Padres. Everyone, if you can, hey, if you want to, go follow me on X. My potato brain is always coming up with something on there. I don't know. What do we got? From my feed of guys that I'm following. Michael Marino tweeted about a Will Salmon 5 minutes ago. Joined the Mets beat. All right, so yeah, saying Will Salmon's doing great work. But the last thing we got about Soto is from Heyman as well as Hector Gomez, right? Hector Gomez says a deal is almost done, but just waiting for the medicals to clear. Heyman, in my opinion, I think Heyman is probably the bigger name than Hector Gomez, and saying here the Yankees and the Padres making significant progress on a Juan Soto deal. No word. It's not. Look at this. Look at Walter White in the back of the car, man. Screaming, Cashman, get it done. I don't know. We're just waiting here, everyone. We are waiting for something to get announced. It feels like it's inevitable for something to get done. Feels like it's only a matter of time. Rob Bradford, you got something? Rob Bradford, not now. Wait, no. Rob Bradford, we're looking for Juan Soto news. But the latest that we do have is Heyman. That's the last thing we got. So I don't know. But let's get back to the trade board here. Let's see. I'm also trying to keep an eye on the chat. Bob Clapp. Who is Bob Clapp? Who is that? Bob Clapp. Oh, Clappish. I was thinking, who the heck is Bob Clapp? He says here, Juan Soto is getting close, according to source. I mean, it now seems like it's all over the place right now. It only seems inevitable at this point. We're just waiting. Oh, Kem Rosenthal. Dang it. Ugh. Kem Rosenthal. We need Juan Soto news. We need it. Well, let's see. We got a super chat that just came in. While we're paying attention. Oh, here we go. Bob Nightingale. What do you got, Bob? Bob Nightingale. When asked whether there's enough momentum for the Juan Soto deal to be consummated by the time the Yankees and the Padres go to the airport this afternoon, one executive involved with the talks said, maybe I can say progress is being made. I mean, we had Bob Nightingale tweet as well in the last 30 minutes. He kind of put out something that made it sound like something was going to happen in the next few days. And then everyone else started saying, hey, a deal is getting done. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about Bob. I feel like he's been kind of missing a little bit. He kind of bugged me when he put out that he thinks the finalists for Yamamoto are the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Yankees, which I don't doubt that they are, right? I definitely think they're going to be in the thick of things for Yamamoto, but just leaving out other teams, I don't know, man. I didn't really like that. What do we got? Anything in the chat? We had a super chat come through. Yeah, that's what I agree with you. JC, same posts, but different words. It just feels like, people are just trying to get their tweets out there. So the last one that we got that felt significant was Heyman saying that there is significant progress. No word it's done or official yet. I don't know. For me, though, when I read that last part, it feels like that to me means like it's getting pretty close, right? No word it's done or official yet. But the fact that people are speculating whether if it's getting close to that point, that tells me it's pretty close. I think it's just a matter of just checking the medicals, honestly. There's a lot of things you got to look into, especially when it comes to all the pictures, right? I'm guessing the Padres here. I'm just very curious what the pitching is going to be, right? There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. You could definitely do Michael King, right? If it's just Michael King, which it's not going to be just Michael King, but it would be a moderate overpay on BTV, right? But again, the reason I'm using this, everyone, I know there's going to be people out there that have their opinions about baseball trade values. I'm not saying it's the Holy Bible, but to me, I think it's the most realistic thing out there when it comes to coming up with realistic trades, right? But yeah, if it's just Michael King, yeah, that works, right? I would imagine the Padres are going to want at least a couple more players. So if we're getting back to Thorpe, those two, just those two, the trade is rejected. Unless the Padres maybe throw something back for the Yankees. I mean, let's go actually take a look here. I see a couple super chats. Coming in. Going to get to those in just a second. But we are on Juan Soto watch. And looking at the Padres. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of what could be some other players. Cronenworth has an underwater value right now. I don't think it's going to be Cronenworth. Grisham, they don't need now because you got Verdugo. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe you could do like a bullpen guy. Could you maybe do like a Tom Cosgrove, possibly? That would be someone of value. So I don't know. We got some super chats coming in. Got some super chats coming in. Let me get back to Trevor. Trevor, you had a $4.99 super chat. What would a Casas extension look like? I think Casas, you're probably looking at, I don't know, I would imagine probably something like at least 7 or 8 years, right? I would imagine they want to sign him through the arbitration years and maybe a couple of more after that. I could see that making sense. For Casas, I don't know. I could see maybe like, I don't know, maybe like an AAV of like 15, right? With his salary getting bigger each year. All right, so if he does 7 for 15, like maybe like a 7-year 105, right? Or maybe you could do like 120 over 7 where he gets like 17 million per season. I could see that. Maybe somewhere like 7, 8 years, 100 to 120 million. I think that could make some sense. Trevor, thank you for the super chat. What do we got? Bone 6,000, $6.99 Canadian. This just in. The Yankees need more than Soto to make the playoffs. I agree. I don't think Soto necessarily brings them to the promised land, but you're adding 5 wins to the team. That automatically, right? If you're going back to, thinking about the Yankees with where they finished, right? 82-80, right? 82-80. So right there, that adds 5 wins. So, and you got a full season of Judge, right? So now all of a sudden the Yankees, you're right back in that wild card territory, right? So I think for the Yankees to be a division winner, yeah, I think you definitely need a bit more than Juan Soto. Need a bit more than Juan Soto. But I think Soto and then guys getting back on track like Carlos Rodon, right, as well as a healthy Judge for a full season, that puts the Yankees right back in the thick of making the playoffs. So, what do we got here? Jack Curry. He's giving us something. Jack Curry, what do you got? What do you got? With the expectation that King and Thorpe would be included in a Soto trade, my hunch is that means Schmidt and Hampton won't be moved. Could see Brito and Vasquez being dealt. Since Padres could use a catcher, perhaps the Yankees move one of their catchers as part of the deal. So he's saying no. I don't think Hampton's getting moved. That's their top pitching prospect. I don't see that. That's going to be a huge overpay if it is King and Thorpe, along with Brito and Vasquez, right? If we're looking at the Yankees, when it comes to their roster, right? He mentioned maybe they could include a catcher. You got Trevino, you got Austin Wells. I mean, Trevino, he missed a lot of time last year. Could you send back Trevino? Or could you maybe do Austin Wells? I mean, let's do this. Let's see. But I don't see Austin Wells because he has a really good amount of value. All right, around median value of around 16. What is Jack Fritz saying? Jack Fritz. And everyone, if you're gonna put in the chat like for someone to check when it comes to like checking for a report, make sure it's something like pretty valid. Okay, so I'm seeing Jock Peterson for the Phillies. Or what is this? Did Jock Peterson just sign somewhere? What do we got? Dennis Lynn. As the Padres and Yankees continue to work toward a Juan Soto trade, Jake Cronenworth is another trade candidate for San Diego. Cronenworth's 7-year, $80 million extension begins in 2024. He has an 8-team no-trade clause that kicked in this offseason. Again, he's an underwater contract, so economically, when you're looking at that, that's something you have to consider. Right? He had a bad year last year. Oh, did Jock Peterson actually confirm that himself on his Instagram? I don't know if I can actually... I don't think I'm logged in on Instagram on my computer. Yeah, I can't look. Oh, he posted it. Oh, that's actually on his Instagram. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. So Jock Peterson actually put that picture of himself and the Phillies mascot. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. But getting back to the Yankees players that could be in a deal, you got Trevino. I don't think Austin Wells. Where is Higashioka? Where is he? Why are they putting him in AAA? What are we doing here? Why, Fangraphs? What are you doing? Why is Higashioka in AAA? Yeah, you could possibly do Higashioka. I could see that. So let's do that. All right. I don't think it's going to be Austin Wells. Definitely don't think it's going to be Austin Wells. All right. I would say it would either be Trevino, but he has a pretty solid value too, $7 million. Right. So my guess, it probably would be Higashioka. Right. He's got a 1.8 value. That is definitely something more that you can contribute here. What else we got? Forrest, Ben Rice. Right? Yeah, maybe that too. Maybe Ben Rice. Let's look at his value here. Ben Rice, what do we got? Why isn't Ben Rice showing up? Why am I not finding Ben Rice? Let's go to the catchers. What is happening here? Why is he not popping up? I don't know what's going on. My guess would be, I don't know, Higashioka I think would be a nice piece for them. That'd be a nice piece. I don't know why Ben Rice isn't popping up in here. But you're probably looking at around a similar value, so I just put Higashioka there. Jimmy Productions, Yankees catcher Ben Rice played for my uncle's summer ball team. That's pretty cool. Jimmy Productions, Robbie, if I was a betting guy, I would bet Nestor Cortez would be in the trade. Could you maybe do Nestor Cortez? That could be interesting. I think for Cortez, though, he still has multiple years of control, right? And he has a pretty good value, too, 9.6. I think it's going to be more likely that it would be Brito, right? Or Vasquez, right? Or Vasquez. So Brito, he's a little less, but I could see maybe you do both. So could this end up being the package? Michael King, Thorpe, Higashioka, Vasquez, and Brito? That's a lot, man. That is absolutely rejected by the simulator. But it's kind of one of those things where, John Morosi, we got something. John Morosi. Oh, man. John Morosi. Juan Soto trade to the Yankees is now close to being finalized. Source confirms, if completed, Michael King and Drew Thorpe, along with additional players, will go to San Diego. Also, Morosi just put out as well. Verdugo is not going. We got something cooking here, everyone. We got something cooking. Everyone, share the show if you can. Share the show if you can. Yes, I agree with you. Colt, thank you for the actual news, Morosi. Yes, it's nice to see. But, we've been seeing some of these, tweets coming out. We have been seeing some of these tweets coming out. And it's been leading up to this, right? This started last night. Who knows how long they stayed up last night? Who knows? All right, Morosi's got something else. The Padres' return is expected to include King, Thorpe, and at least 2 additional players. I do wonder if something else goes along with Juan Soto. I think that's possible. Because to me, I wonder who the 2 players are. We have, from Jack Curry, he mentioned possibly a catcher, right? So could you do Higashioka or maybe Ben Rice? Jimmy Productions, $1.99. Could we see a 3-team trade? Who knows? I would imagine maybe not. I probably think it's just these 2, but you never know. Maybe another team could get in. Son of Marak, King, Thorpe, and Brito. I mean, maybe Brito. It's definitely, when it comes to the values, right? But, it's a little different because it is Juan Soto. You got to keep that in mind. It is Juan Soto at the end of the day. So, yeah, sure. We got our simulator here, but this is a different kind of a player, right? It's a little different. D-Rod, $2 super chat. Robbie, what do you know about Verdugo, Cora butting heads? It seemed like there was definitely a bit of conflict between the 2 last year, just kind of watching every single game. I don't know. There was just something there. I just think Cora, there just seemed to be something going on with Verdugo last year. I don't know if maybe Cora found him to be a bit unprofessional about the way he did things. I'm not sure exactly, right? But there was definitely a disconnect between Cora and Verdugo, in my opinion. I just don't think Cora really saw Verdugo as a guy that, in my personal opinion, I think Cora did not see Verdugo as a guy that was going to be a part of what he thought would be a winning team. That's just my own personal opinion. I think he liked Verdugo. But I think there was reports that he showed up late, right? Who knows how many times? We heard one time, but who knows if maybe that was multiple times. We heard a lot of times where, he chewed Verdugo out, so who knows? But as for Verdugo himself, it looks like he's staying. Doesn't look like he's going to be a part of the deal. So, yeah, Steve-O, I see what you're saying there. Verdugo too casual for Cora. I kind of wonder if that's what it is, that disconnect there. But are we getting anything else? Let's see. Are we getting anything else on the news? I wonder, man, if something is going to be with Soto. Because when you're looking, who knows who the 2 players are? Let's say it's another picture and maybe Higashioka. Or maybe it's Vasquez and Brito. Who knows? Or maybe names we're not even thinking about. Maybe. I wonder, I see someone in the chat. I see you in the chat. Could it maybe be Ha-Seong Kim? I don't know about that. I don't know where you would really fit Ha-Seong Kim. He would be a fan favorite in the Bronx, though. He'd be a massive favorite, right? They would love him. I don't know, though. I don't think the Padres would want to give him up. He's pretty cheap, and he's going to give you good production. So I personally don't think it's going to be Ha-Seong Kim. It could just be Soto, right? We've seen Preller many times before pull off trades where the simulator does not approve them. So I think that's very possible. Very possible. Forrest, I'm surprised we've heard nothing about guys like Everson Pereira, but if the Padres are all in on getting pitching, that makes sense. Yeah, I thought Pereira would be a nice piece at one point for the Padres to get back, but then we started hearing names like Michael King, all right? But what this tells me is that the Padres, they are looking to stay competitive next year, but they're just going to stay competitive in different ways, right? They're looking for major league ready pitching, because if you're going to be giving up Soto but still trying to compete, this is kind of what you have to do, all right? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people seeing a lot of people say Cronenworth. I don't know, man. I think Cronenworth, it's just the negative value that he has that makes me hesitate at this. I don't think Cronenworth would be a part of it. This would be, if this ends up being the deal, that's wild to me. Like, listen, I like Cronenworth. I think he could definitely bounce back this coming year, but I don't know, man. He did not look good last year. Did not look good. I don't know. I don't think Cronenworth goes, personally. That's just me. Who knows? Preller has a way of doing these things. Maybe he convinces him. Anthony, how you doing? The return I'm expecting is probably Brito, Thorpe, King, and Schmidt. I don't think you're going to get Schmidt as well. I don't think that, man. King, Thorpe, and Schmidt? That seems a little wild. The only thing I'm hanging on to here, because there is still this gap, I do wonder if the Padres send something back along with Soto. Maybe you could do like a bullpen piece. I don't know, maybe someone like Cosgrove. I mean, that's still going to get rejected. This is definitely a huge gap, man. Who knows? I mean, it's just King and Thorpe, really. Let's say you take out Brito. What does this look like? Actually, if you did Higashioka or a player of similar value, and maybe one more player of similar value, and if they also send back Cosgrove, who was a pretty decent piece for them in the bullpen last year, if you go look at his numbers. You know, Cosgrove last year, over 50 innings, a 1.75 ERA. So I don't know. Chris M., they're not sending Cosgrove. Do you have sources, my friend? Do you have sources? I'm just kidding. I mean, come on. Like if that is like, I mean, if you're getting Juan Soto, you know, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's kind of like just play fantasy here, right? If you're getting Juan Soto, right, and if the Padres are trying to get a deal done, and if the Yankees say at the end of the day, all right, but you got to include Cosgrove. I mean, are the Padres at that point, like, are they going to say no? They're like, nah, we're not going to do it. We're not giving up Cosgrove. Is Cosgrove really going to be the deal breaker? I mean, yeah, good bullpen arm, but is he really going to be the deal breaker there? I don't know. Maybe not Cosgrove. Maybe could end up getting another piece, right? Maybe the Padres send back, I don't know, maybe like an Avila, you know, someone like him. I don't know. Waldron, maybe one of these guys, right? And you can basically just replace one of these guys with King. You know? I don't know. Who knows? Jimmy Productions, $4.99. Do the Padres jump in on Yamamoto, clearing Soto money out and Young pitching too? That's going to be a good question, I think. What happens with the Yankees and Yamamoto? Because you're adding a ton of payroll here with Soto. $33 million for the year, but it is only the 1 year. So I wonder if the Yankees think, all right, we can also bring in Yamamoto, right? Yeah, our payroll is going to be pretty massive this year. But if Soto ends up leaving, well, all right, at least that's coming off the books. And then we got Yamamoto for the next 7 to 8 years. So let's see. I think it's possible. Red Seat Radio. How you doing, my friend? Red Seat Radio. Everyone, if you're a Red Sox fan or just a baseball fan in general, go follow Red Seat Radio. He has a great channel talking Red Sox. Do you think anyone else in Major League Baseball would have matched this offer value-wise that the Yankees are putting up? I think it just depends, right? I think for the Yankees, it seems like, I mean, sure, you got similar values out there, but are the Yankees or are the Padres so focused on Michael King, right? Is that the guy that they have on their menu, right? We want Michael King. Do they see that with anyone else, right? I think with Juan Soto, his market, at least in my opinion, is pretty limited, right? Let's just use our Red Sox as an example, right? Let's say, the Red Sox, while the Yankees could offer Michael King, we could offer someone like Cutter Crawford, Do the Padres see Cutter Crawford as a guy that's going to be as good as Michael King for them? You know what I mean? So I think it's just really, I wouldn't say it's not just all about similar values. I think it's just the Padres' preferences at the end of the day. Yeah, that's definitely something to think about, right? What do we got? D-Rod, Padres trading Soto for money relief. No way they get Yamamoto. Yeah, I don't think the Padres are going to get Yamamoto. Is that what you were asking, Jimmy? Oh, I don't know why I went. I'm so stupid. You said, do the Padres jump in? I'm thinking Yankees. I still think the Yankees could jump in on Yamamoto. Sorry, I don't know why my potato brain came in there. Do the Padres jump in on Yamamoto? I don't think so. I mean, the clear goal for the Padres right now is to stay competitive, but is to clear payroll. So that doesn't seem realistic to me. Now, with their newfound payroll flexibility, right, you're going to be clearing off around $30 million here. So you're looking at around 150 to 160 expected for next year. So if they're wanting to stay around that $200 million range, well, now you basically have like 45 million to play with. Do you want to be spending 25, 30 on Yamamoto or even bringing back Snell? You know, that's a big chunk. Or maybe they could go after, some of these lower tier guys on the market. Let's see. Jimmy Productions, $1.99. The Nationals got a lot back for Soto. Yes, they did. But remember, this is not the same deal because Soto at the time had multiple years of control, right? He had that half season after the deadline, right? And then you had last year and then this coming year, right? So it's a different trade. And Juan Soto, in my opinion, is like a unicorn of a player that we're not going to see a whole lot of. To me, Juan Soto is a pretty rare player. The type of skill set that he has with the bat, and he's still really young, right? I think Juan Soto, in my opinion, is going to go down as one of the best players of all time. That's just me. But as for the Padres, if they are to clear off this payroll, you bring in Michael King, and then you got Musgrove, Darvish, and King. There's a lot of possibilities out there. Maybe you look at someone like Eduardo Rodriguez, where he's expected to get an AAV of around 19 million. That's not going to, that's definitely a little bit more flexible than Blake Snell. That's still a lot, though, for Eduardo Rodriguez. So maybe you go a little further down. Stroman, Fangraphs, they're projecting 22 million per season for Stroman. So I don't know. I've always thought maybe Stroman could be a pretty good fit with the Padres, but for 22 million, I'm not sure about that. If we're going further down the list here of possible guys that they could add, could you bring back Waka? I could see them bringing back Waka. I think it's possible. Could you do Flaherty? He's been attached for the Pirates recently. Could you do Lorenzen? Could you maybe do Sean Manaea, right? Maybe bring him back. I don't know. Maybe someone like James Paxton, Giolito. There's possibilities out there. But I think if you have a 1, 2, 3 of Musgrove, Darvish, and King, I think that's pretty solid. And I expect them to kind of fill out their innings with some cheaper options, right? Jimmy Productions, $4.99. Thank you, Jimmy. How much does the cheaper Japanese pitcher cost? That's another one. I'm leaving Imanaga off, too. Maybe Imanaga could be a guy that they could go after. Could the Padres be interested in him? That's a good point. Why is he not on this list? Where is Imanaga? Where are you at? Is he on here? Fangraphs, did you put him on? Imanaga. They don't even have him on here. Oh, come to think of it, they don't even have Yamamoto on here either. I don't know why they don't. But anyway. But yeah, no, Imanaga could be an option. Maybe. I'm thinking with Imanaga, I don't know, I'm trying to remember what I've read. You're probably looking maybe around like 20 million maybe per year for Imanaga. Maybe like 18 to 20 million. I'm not sure. He's definitely not going to be Yamamoto, but he's still looked at to be a pretty good pitcher that you can add. The one problem with Imanaga is he was giving up a home run per 9 in Japan, and usually in Japan, the home run numbers for the good pitchers are pretty low, right? And according to, people that have looked into pitchers that come over from Japan to the States, those home run numbers tend to double just because the quality of the bats, here in the major leagues. So if he's giving up a home run per 9 already in Japan, you're looking at maybe 1.5 to 2 home runs per 9 in the majors. That's not good, right? So I don't know. That's going to be interesting with Imanaga. But the one thing with him is that he has a lot of pitches that he throws, right? Is good stuff, good velocity. So I'm wondering if maybe, teams can really work with him, right? Imanaga, I think, is an intriguing guy to add. But maybe the Padres get on him. I think that's very possible. What else we got? NJL, do you think Jock leaving, the Giants could go after Jung-Hoo Lee? I think Jung-Hoo Lee absolutely could be a Giants target. I would think Cody Bellinger would be higher on their list, personally, because obviously with Jung-Hoo Lee, you don't really know what you're getting. He was very good over in the KBO, right? And we've seen Ha-Sung Kim. He's come over to the majors and he's doing really well. But yeah, Jung-Hoo Lee, I think that's the guy that goes after Bellinger, honestly. I think the Giants would rather have Bellinger. All right, let's go back to X-Land. Do we got anything else? Everyone, while I'm pulling up anything else possibly coming up, if you can, hit the like for me. Share the show. If you are new, think about subscribing. Go follow me on X as well. My potato brain is always talking about something over here. So go follow me on there if you got an X account. But we're just here, everyone. We're on Juan Soto watch. We've been here for a couple of hours now. The Heine is starting to fall asleep, but that's okay. That's okay because I'm here for you. I'm here for the people to see if we can get a Juan Soto trade. But the last thing we got was just around 20 minutes ago. The Padres' return in the Juan Soto trade is expected to include King, Thorpe, and at least 2 additional players. Another super chat coming in. Michael Honorado, $4.99. Imanaga feels like, oh, no, don't say his name. No, it's he who shall not be named. I'm kidding. Kei Igawa to when Daisuke was posted. Honestly, that's kind of how I felt when I looked at the two. Oh, man. Good times, man. Good times. Remember the Yankees? They were just like dominating when they were just adding everyone, right, in the early 2000s. And then the Red Sox started to turn the tide a little bit. They landed Daisuke instead of the Yankees. Everyone thought Daisuke was going to be a Yankee, right? And then the Yankees, they had to pivot, and they said, all right, fine, we didn't get Daisuke, but we'll give you Kei Igawa. Kei Igawa is just as good as Daisuke. Watch. Daisuke is going to be a bust. Kei Igawa, he's going to be the top guy here. And then Kei Igawa got absolutely annihilated. God. Oh, man. D-Rod, I got a Juan Soto watch. It's a Timex. I like it. You're on Juan Soto watch. I like it. JM, get a stand-up desk with a treadmill. I've actually thought about getting a stand-up desk. I have. I was actually at Costco the other day. Also, I have a question for all of you at home. 700 people in here. What do you all think of Costco pizza? Do you like Costco pizza? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. I know it's a very random question, but I want to know what you all think about Costco pizza. $1.99 for a Costco slice. I mean, honestly, Groovy Tea can't beat the price. You can't. It's $1.99. The Costco food stand is phenomenal. What did I get the other day? My obese, fluffy self. I got myself a piece of pizza the other day. I got the chicken bake where it's like that big old Hot Pocket looking thing. I had a whole piece of pizza. I had that freaking chicken bake thing. I almost got a hot dog too. Yeah, John Miller. Yeah, the chicken bake. That's where it's at. You know what I thought about the chicken bake at Costco? I thought of it as like a really good Hot Pocket. Like, you've had Hot Pockets in the past, but this was like a gourmet Hot Pocket. That's what I'm saying. Roy Ramirez, you're right. That was about 1,500 calories. I didn't eat until later that night. Yeah, Costco is great. I can't believe we're talking about Costco right now. Anyway, what was I talking about? Don't remember what I was talking about. I forget. What do we got? Jimmy Productions, $4.99. Jake Cronenworth or someone else, the Mariners, for young pitching that they got. I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting. Are the Mariners going to do something with Bryce Miller or Brian Wu or even Logan Gilbert? If the Red Sox get Logan Gilbert, I will run outside. I will do freaking cartwheels. Oh, my goodness. If the Red Sox somehow got Logan Gilbert or even Bryce Miller, I'd be happy with that too. I would love that, man. Mike, if you end the stream, the trade will happen fast. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Little E, Robbie Hyde, Jim Riley for ESPN Sports Center. I'm guessing Jim is live right now. Is he live right now? He has to be live. He's all over it. He has to be live. Yeah, he's live too. So we both have around 700 people in the chat. So we're both, we've been working our tails off of these streams, man. He's doing a great job over there. Brandon Dillman, would you give up Cassis for Gilbert? Ugh. I do understand you got to give something good to get something good. I'd be pretty sad if we gave up Tristan Casas, to be completely honest with you. He's one of those guys where he's just a unique dude, right? He's a different cat. He's doing his yoga out there. He's taking his naps, right? I just like Casas. That's, I think, going to be a really good middle-of-the-order bat, in my opinion. It's kind of one of those bats where it's really hard to give up a bat like that. You know? I don't think I would do it. I'd rather hang on to Casas. I would love Gilbert. I'd probably hang on to Casas, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be able to do that because it's not often a left-handed bat like Casas who gets on base, can hit for power. You know, it's not very often you come around a guy like that. Gilbert too, right? What do we got? Red Seat Radio. Thank you. Reminded me of this in his lines. What do we got? Oh, yes. Remember that? Remember Dice K, man, back in 2007? Everyone thought he was going to the Yankees. And then, bam, the Red Sox come in. They're on a plane out to California to go meet with Dice K or wherever. Could the same thing happen again with Yamamoto, man? Everyone's thinking Yankees. Everyone's thinking Mets. And the Red Sox are just hanging back. I miss Dice K, man. Remember these necklaces? What was that company called again? Was it Fightin'? Remember everyone was wearing these necklaces around that time? Because I guess they had like magnetic ions or something in them and it made your body like recover better or something. I used to have one of these. I loved it. I loved my Fightin' necklace, man. I had a red one. Dice K was something else, man. Everyone was all aboard the Dice K train. So, we got anything else? No one is saying anything. That makes me wonder that stuff is going down right now. And it's only a matter of time before something happens. Riz Awesomeful. Or Josh Beckett, man, everyone was wearing them. Oh, dude, everyone was wearing them. Everyone. Those things were crazy, man. Brandon Dillman, what is going on with the Mariners owner crying poor when they're among the most profitable teams every year? Something weird going on in Seattle. I mean, doesn't it feel like that every single time, man? Seattle, it feels like they're that team. Like they could really take that next step and they could really go after a championship. But then there's just something always holding them back. I can't grasp what is happening in Seattle. But we have nothing else coming up. Nothing else. I am literally refreshing every chance I get. We've got nothing else. But like I said, I do think this means that things are just happening right now behind the scenes, whether there's, medicals, paperwork, stuff like that. Then, yeah. I think it's just a matter of time. I think I would imagine we have something announced soon. Getting a lot of traction right now. The big one is that John Morosi 26 minutes ago said the trade is now close to being finalized. I mean, when you got something like that, it just feels inevitable at this point. We're just waiting for that tweet, right? But Michael Marino also, I want to reiterate this one more time. Michael Marino, 21 minutes ago, sources tell me in the last 48 hours, the Yankees became open-minded to the reality they may need to ship both King and Thorpe to acquire Juan Soto. That became a spark in trade talks. A catcher is something the Padres told the Yankees they'd like to have included in a return. So is that Higashioka? All right. I tried pulling up Ben Rice, but Ben Rice is not, I don't know why he's not coming up in the simulator. So, but Higashioka, right? I could definitely see him. But I don't know about Trevino or Wells. I definitely don't think Wells is, still a prospect. Still has a lot of promise. I don't think Wells. Maybe Trevino, but when you're including him now, I mean, you're really beefing up the value of the package, right? So, I mean, when you're in this territory now, let's take out Cosgrove, I mean, you're looking at, it's a lot. Remember with Juan Soto, I know it says 23.8, right? I know it says 23.8, but remember the one thing with Soto is that his value could go all the way up to around $30 million, right? So that definitely would bridge the gap, right? But you're still, even if you're looking at a $30 million value for Juan Soto, you're still, when it comes to simply, when you're looking at the years of control, the salary, the performance, and everything, even if he is around 30 million, you're still looking at a pretty sizable gap, right? But then let's say Michael King, you go a little lower on his value, right? So imagine Soto is around $30 million worth. Michael King, let's say, for him, he could go all the way down to 25. So let's say Michael King is 25. I'd say Thorpe, I'd say that's a fair value for him. That seems fair. Could you go a little lower? Honestly, I think you could say his value maybe even is a little higher, right? Because of the good year that he had in the minor leagues last year. Honestly, I really think his value could be even higher than that. Oh, we got something. Nope, we did not get anything. I got my phone right next to me. Anytime I hear a buzz, I'm checking it. But yeah, I think Thorpe's value is pretty fair, to be honest with you. Trevino, if you did him, I don't know. I would honestly think, I wonder if Higashioka is a guy. Personally. I think Garrett Cole would hate that. But let's say Michael King, 25 mil. Thorpe is 10, so you're looking at 35. So, maybe it's closer than what the median numbers tell us. Man, did we just lose like 100 people in this chat? Did we lag or anything? Or am I just that boring? My goodness. We just lost like 100 people in this chat. But, yeah, hey, personally, when I've been looking at the simulator, I've been thinking, man, really? Is it going to be Michael King and Drew Thorpe? I don't know, man. Oh, did an ad run? Oh, man. Goodness. I guess that can make some sense why people would leave. So, for me, I'm going to go with Higashioka, but I'm still going to hold out that maybe the Padres are including something with Juan Soto. It could just be Soto, for sure. Jimmy Productions, $1.99. Blue Jays and the Giants are favorites for Ohtani. Where's that coming from? I mean, we've heard the Blue Jays. Is there something about the Giants that I'm not seeing? Something about the Giants I'm not seeing? Or are you just speculating, Jimmy? Or are you just speculating? Bleacher Creatures, how you doing, my friend? Padres have to be including something else, or it is a major overpay. Knowing Cashman, it is some BS. I mean, who knows, man? You know, I think one thing we need to think about here when it comes to a trade with Juan Soto, it is Juan Soto, right? He's kind of a guy where he's also just bringing you that name too, you know? But it's also another thing to consider is that the Yankees, right? This gives them a year to, try and persuade him to possibly stay long term, right? And another thing to think about is with Juan Soto, if he ends up leaving, right, the Yankees can offer the qualifying offer, right? And then they'll get a draft pick out of it. And the draft picks that are usually that high, they tend to be in around like the $10 million range. So remember that as well, right? Those higher draft picks that you get for compensation, they tend to be pretty high value, anywhere from like 8 to 10 million. So that's another thing I think, think about there. So I'll even just kind of, this might look a little silly, but I'll even just kind of include that, right? I'll just put 8 million, right? So for the value of that draft pick, if they offer they will offer the qualifying offer to Soto, right? But that is something to think about as well, right? And if you did validate that trade, for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, right? Matt, they aren't 8 million, maybe 4. I'm trying. What is the picks again? It's right after the first round. So I'm trying to think. Well, I'm not talking about the slot value, not what they would make. I'm talking about just the value, right? Because that is a pretty high player in a draft, right? So you got to think about, this is a guy that's going to enter the top of your farm system, right? So already right there, he's going to be a higher prospect. So that's something to think about when it comes to trades, right? So it's not just about the slot value that you're going to be signing him to, right? So yeah, I think that's right around that slot value, right around like that $5 million range, right? 4 million. So, but it's also what they're bringing in terms of value as an asset in your organization, right? So I would say anywhere from like 8 to 10, not just slot value, but what they're bringing as an asset. So that's something to think about, right? Because essentially the Padres, I know they're giving up Juan Soto, but they're also giving up that draft pick, right? So that's another thing. So I guess when you think about it that way, maybe it ends up being a bit more fair, right? At least closer, right? So you can do Michael King, Drew Thorpe, and then, a couple other pieces. Actually, let me go look here. Let me go to the Yankees depth chart. And we had, Johnny Brito had over 90 innings last year, 4.28 on the ERA. Let's close out some tabs. What was the FIP for Johnny Brito? 4.74. The strikeouts weren't great. He needs to get those strikeouts up. So that's one thing to consider. So you had Brito. Where's Vasquez on here? Vasquez. Why isn't Randy Vasquez coming up here? There he is. So Vasquez, he did pretty well last year. 37 innings, 2.87 on the ERA. So if I'm looking at Brito and Vasquez, so what was the FIP? So yeah, Vasquez had a pretty high FIP. They're very similar, right? Similar strikeouts, but it looks like Brito walks less guys. So maybe Brito is in my opinion, maybe the more, maybe a guy that the Padres would want a little bit more. Who's younger? Brito is almost 26. Vasquez. So honestly, they're very similar pictures. All right, let's just do Brito. So, if you're doing, and then, one more piece, you can do Higashioka. All right, so actually, when you think about it, Juan Soto, as well as the potential draft pick that they would get for the qualifying offer, this is considered a major overpay. It's a lot. But that is something we also need to think about, right? The Yankees are going to get that compensation pick. So, what are you saying? NJL, we're looking at Fritz. John Morosi tweeting out a couple of things. Let's go to John Morosi here. John Morosi, what are we saying? John Morosi, what do we got? Give me something. Jordan Hicks, drawing interest from the Rangers, Astros, and Angels. That'd be good for the Angels. As well as the Rangers, too. Astros, that'd be a filthy bullpen. Corbin Burns, Brewers GM Matt Arnold told me a lot of teams are asking about him, and I think that's rightfully so. He's also one of the best pitchers we've had in our franchise history. We're thrilled to have him. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like they're okay with keeping him, and they hang on to him, try and compete next year, and if he ends up leaving, they get the compensation pick. All right? Or they wait till the deadline, trade him then. Right? Or if they get a deal that ends up blowing them away during this offseason, they can pull the trigger. Right? The Brewers, they're in the driver's seat for Corbin Burns. They're in a much better spot than the Padres are with Juan Soto. That might sound weird, right? But Corbin Burns, they don't necessarily have to give him up because at the end of the day, I think they would just happily take the draft pick and just try to compete. That's one thing the Brewers always do. They're always trying to make the playoffs. And, you can respect that. Son of Marak, Yankee fan, Soto is very adamant where he wants to bat in the lineup. Where would Juan Soto bat in this lineup? Let's take a look. What would this lineup look like with Juan Soto? I would imagine... Well, where is Soto right now in the Padres lineup? Has he been batting third for the most part or second? He's been batting third. I mean, that to me, I think he'd be perfect in the 3 spot. You can keep Judge in the number 2 spot. So you'd have... Now, I wonder, would LeMahieu be the leadoff guy? Honestly, I really think Verdugo could be the leadoff guy. So... That's what I think personally. I think Verdugo absolutely could be a leadoff guy. He was pretty good in the leadoff spot for the Red Sox last year. So I think you could do Verdugo, Judge, Soto, right? And then you keep Glaber in the cleanup spot, Stanton. Then you do LeMahieu in the 6th spot. And then you got Volpe in the 7th spot. And then you figure out the last 2 spots there. So, Yankee fans, let me know. If you got Soto, would you probably want him batting third? Or where would you want him? Maybe batting second? Would you have Verdugo bat leadoff? Where would you want him? Right? IMAX, do you think Robert's comments hurt the Ohtani sweepstakes chances? No, I don't think so. I don't know. So at least I would think that's not going to be that big of a deal. I mean, come on. Dark Shadow 88. Dugo, Judge, Soto, Stanton, Torres, Rizzo, LeMahieu. Oh, yeah, Rizzo too. Yeah, Rizzo would be there. Yeah, Rizzo I think would be a good, 5 or 6 in that lineup. Michael, how you doing, my friend? $4.99. Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, LeMahieu, Wells, Volpe. Yeah, I think that works out. Think about the lefty-righties, right? So if you did Verdugo, you'd have Judge a righty. Then you'd have Soto, right? And then You could do Stanton in the cleanup spot. I mean, honestly, that would be a really nice balanced lineup with Soto in there, right? Because you're going righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. But that is one thing to think about. Lancer Jack, that's a slow lineup. I think they definitely would need, to add some speed, right? Verdugo is going to bring you some more speed, right? He's not going to be like a barn burner out there when it comes to the bases. So, Big Tex 1017, Ann Rogers. Who is Ann Rogers? I swear, this is one thing I like about these streams, because you tell me names and I'm like, who are these people? Ann Rogers, who is that? I'm not finding anyone by the name of Ann Rogers. Don't see it. What do we got? I could have sworn Terrence Gore. Who's that? Terrence Gore. What is Terrence Gore saying? Terrence Gore. This guy hasn't even posted in years. What the heck is going on? Cesar Rodriguez, $4.99. If they got Soto and send Thorpe, King, plus 2 good players, would you say it was a waste if they don't sign Soto long term? That would hurt, man. Because King's a good pitcher, right? Thorpe, at the end of the day, prospects are prospects. They could turn into something. They could not, right? But, it's kind of one of those things. It would always just be a what if he ends up doing well for the Padres. It would be a what if, right? That's the one thing too. It's like you don't necessarily know if that prospect would have done well for you, right? I think about that, right? When you have these players, they end up getting traded. They end up they're either a prospect or a guy that wasn't really performing for you. They end up going to another organization, and then they end up doing really well over there. All right. Doesn't necessarily mean they would have the same results. It definitely could be that they would have very similar results, right? But I would think the way the Yankees have been developing pitching, I would think Drew Thorpe is going to be a pretty decent arm for them at the least. So, yeah, that would be tough to lose, in my opinion. Still, at the end of the day, you don't necessarily know what he will be. And then, Michael King. The one thing about Michael King that I love is that he has shown how valuable he is for the Yankees. So valuable, man. Like, going into the rotation last year, sure, the Yankees were pretty much out of it. So when he went into the rotation, there wasn't as much, of a playoff race kind of a pressure on him, right? So he can kind of just go in there and just work on whatever he was working on, right? And he ended up doing really well. So, but losing King, man, he's been a valuable piece for that bullpen. That would hurt. I think on the pitching side of things, that would absolutely hurt to lose Michael King. Yeah, you're getting a bat in Soto. You need that bat, right? I think for the Yankees, the key is who is going to step into the place of Michael King, right? That's who they're going to have to figure out, right? Yeah, Tommy Daly. Michael King struck out 13 Blue Jays. That's a lot, man. He's good. Michael King, I think, needs to be given a lot more respect. So, we have not gotten anything else. Can something please happen? My Heine is falling asleep over here. Goodness gracious. Everyone, while we're waiting for something to happen, if you can, hit that like for me. I will love you forever. If you are new, think about subscribing. While we are waiting here for anything to possibly break, everyone, go check out Underdog Fantasy. That is our proud sponsor of this channel. And our friends over at Underdog, they got a lot of good stuff going on over there. All right, so we got tournaments going on right at the moment. Right, we got football, basketball. Mainly basketball is the daily fantasy, right? And then obviously football dominates the weekends. But we got Thursday night football tomorrow. So head on over and go see if there's anything maybe draft-wise that you could do. And we got pick'ems over here as well. So obviously we got Thursday night football coming up tomorrow. But we got a full slate of basketball on for tonight. Then we got football tomorrow. And then obviously we got basketball pretty much every single day. And then we got football this Sunday. So head on over, Underdog Fantasy. And if you click on the link in the description down below and use my code HYDE, you get a double on your first deposit. So if you put in $10, you'll end up getting $20 to play with. And it really helps support the channel. Really goes a long way. So go check out Underdog Fantasy. No baseball at the moment, but there's a lot of good stuff going on at Underdog right now. So let's get back to it here. Let's get back to it. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, big text. This is what you were saying. The Royals are trading Dylan Coleman. It's not quite Juan Soto news, but it is some news, I guess. Oh, Jack Curry. What did Jack Curry just say? Oh, come on, Jack. Our Yankees Hot Stove show airs at 2 p.m. We'll have the latest news on the Soto trade. We'll also discuss Verdugo, Yamamoto, Ohtani, and a lot more. Well, not the tweet I wanted to see, but oh well. Michael, how you doing? $9.99. Here's my take with the Soto situation. He helps them win now. However, if he walks, they will get the draft pick compensation. And we'll also have Spencer Jones and Pereira ready to go in 2025. At the end of the day, you know, you are just trying to win, right? That's the ultimate goal. You are very right about that, Michael. That is the ultimate goal, all right? At the end of the day, Juan Soto makes your lineup better. Their lineup really needs something. And I'll be honest with you. Soto and Verdugo, Soto is the impact bat, but you know, don't sleep on Verdugo either. I actually like that he's bringing a different dynamic to the team. The Yankees need something different, all right? So I think those two additions, that ends up being really big for them, all right? So, but Michael, you definitely make a good point there saying, hey, you know, you get the draft pick, which, you know, if we're going back to the deal here, I did put $8 million for the draft pick compensation. All right, because it's right around that. Usually the draft pick compensation, at least in my opinion, is worth like $8 to $10 million, right? When you're looking at the slot value, right, of what you're paying them, but what they're bringing to you as an asset to the organization. So I think $8 million, maybe $10 million is a fair value. So, because remember that with the Yankees, right? They're not just getting Juan Soto, but they're getting the ability to offer the qualifying offer, right? So, yeah, they're giving up a lot. If this ends up being the package, Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Brito, and one of these catchers, maybe Higashioka, you know, it ends up being a major overpay, right? If it's, you know, but not considering the draft pick, if you're just looking at Juan Soto, then yeah, it is a bit of an overpay there. But I just think it's Juan Soto. It's different. This is, you know, yeah, it's 1 year of him, but it's Juan Soto, and he's going to make your chances of winning a World Series that much better, right? I do think for the Yankees, what I do like, I understand you're losing Michael King, but what I do like is you're not giving up a lot of top prospects, right? You would be losing, according to the reports, you would be losing Drew Thorpe. That's tough. But you're keeping Chase Hampton, right? You're keeping Spencer Jones. You're keeping Pereira, right? Don't forget about Pereira, you know? That's a guy. He has definitely a bright future possibly ahead of him. So for the Yankees, yeah, it's tough losing Michael King. You're going to have to figure out how to replace him, right? Do they go out there? You know, here's the thing. If they go and get this deal done, you lose Michael King, but then you go add Yamamoto, yeah, your payroll is through the roof at that point. But if you're replacing Michael King with Yamamoto, I think all is well. You know? But the Yankees, unfortunately, the answer for the Yankees here is that they're going to have to kind of spend their way out of this, right? Out of the mess of last year, going 82-80, they are going to have to spend, right? And I think they realize that, right? They don't really have that. Yeah, they got a lot of young guys that got a lot of playing time in the second half last year, but you don't know what kind of an impact they're going to bring for this year. You know Juan Soto is going to be an impactful player for you, right? So I think what they probably thought over the last few days is like, yeah, this sucks losing Michael King. This just sucks. But this gives them a chance to either replace him with Yamamoto. Again, you're going to have to spend that money. Or if they don't go that route, they're just going to have to look for other guys to step up, right? And if we're going back to Michael King, let's go back to the numbers that he put up. And could this maybe mean, maybe Clark Schmidt takes that next step? It's going to be tough to replace this production. All right, Michael King. Now, he was a 2-win player last year, but the majority of his appearances were from the bullpen. He did miss some time last year as well, I believe. Didn't he miss like a few weeks or something? I feel like he was hurt at one point. I could be wrong. Am I wrong? If he did miss time, it wasn't a lot. I'm thinking of someone else. No, he was fine. Yeah, no, he didn't miss any time. But Michael King as a starter, right? Let's go look at him. Well, they're projecting him. They're also projecting him to be a 2-win player again next year. I think he can get higher than that. But if you're looking at his numbers as a starter and a reliever, right? I mean, they were really good as a starter, right? 2.68 FIP, 11 strikeouts per 9, 2 walks per 9. I mean, that's a great strikeout to walk ratio. It's really good, right? So honestly, I think Michael King as a full-time starter, right? And again, I've used the comparable of Seth Lugo. Why Seth Lugo? There we go. So Seth Lugo, I believe he was like 2.5, 3 wins last year? And so he was right around 3. So that's what I could see Michael King being. Maybe like a 3, maybe 3.5 win player. So I think at the end of the day, the Yankees, they're just going to have to go into the treasure chest, right? Go see if there's anything else. I don't want to call it a treasure chest, but go into their resources, right, of prospects, see if they can maybe get a young guy to come up and contribute, or they can go land someone on the free agent market. Like Yamamoto, he would instantly replace that production. So, I don't think that losing Michael King, it definitely, in my opinion, that hurts. But because it's not just next year, too. It's also the year after. But I think with Michael King, you can find a way. It's not like you're losing Garrett Cole, right? If you're losing Garrett Cole, then, I mean, come on, right? That's tough, right? That's tough. Jeffrey, we are at 500 likes. Are we at 500 likes? We're losing people left and right. My goodness, we were at like 800 people at one point, and they're all leaving. Goodness gracious. Everyone wants to just hear the Soto news. Michael Onorado, sorry about that, $4.99. If this trade goes down, Jacoby Ellsbury Yankee jerseys just regained their value. That's a good point right there. That's a good point. Very good point. But yeah, so did we hit our like goal? Let's update the like goal here. I'm kind of hanging out here for a while, everyone. We've been here for a while. And so let's see. So we hit the 400 likes. We're at 500. All right. All right. We got to update it now. Can we get to 600 likes? Can we get to 600 likes? This is questionable. I could actually maybe see some of you voting no. This is questionable here. So let's see. We have demolished our first couple of goals here today. We got to 200. We got to 400. Can we get to 600? I don't know. This one might be a little iffy. But what is going on here? We need something. Michael Marino. What does Michael Marino got? He says here, I'd caution anyone jumping to conclusions with Yamamoto. Nothing is close with any team. That includes both the Mets and the Yankees. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Everyone involved is cautiously optimistic. Optimism doesn't lead to deals, and only one of these teams is landing him. Dust needs to settle here. I think it's going to be much more clear when Ohtani signs, and even when the Soto stuff here, this is out of the way. I think this is even going to clear out some stuff, right? So how much the Soto trade clears things out? Probably not that much, but it is something that's out of the way, right? So and it doesn't really seem like there's any other teams. You know, we saw the Blue Jays in the mix. Really what I thought the Blue Jays thing was, I think they were just being used as leverage. That's all I think it was. I think, they made a phone call, stuff like that. So overall, yeah. Got to wait for this stuff to settle. Corey Babcock, probably because everybody is repeating the same Soto news for 3 hours. Yeah. It's been pretty much the same thing since 9:30 this morning. Can these teams just hurry up here? What else we got here in the chat? What else we got? Logan, talking about the Giants. Honestly, the Giants, I'd be happy with Snell and Chapman. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good get. Noah Wright, could you imagine if the Mariners kept Gilbert and signed Snell? By mid-season, you may have a rotation of Kirby, Snell, Castillo, Gilbert, and Ray. That'd be a pretty good rotation if you ask me. That'd be so good. Kirby, Snell, Castillo, Gilbert, and Ray. I mean, good grief. What a rotation. Will Shin, do you think the Red Sox will land Montgomery? Yeah, I think they have a good chance, right? It just kind of feels like the things are in place for it to happen. And I've said this a million times. The thing I keep going back to is the Red Sox right away in the offseason made it known that they wanted Montgomery, right? And even iTalk Studios today, he's got a little source of, someone in that organization. He was saying today, yeah, the Red Sox are making Montgomery a top priority. So the fact that you're still seeing the Red Sox making Montgomery a priority, I personally do think he ends up landing with them, right? He has that experience in the AL East. I could see that. I could absolutely see that. So what else we got? Also, everyone, I want to thank you for the Super Chats today. You guys have been amazing with the Super Chats. Greatly appreciated. Always thankful for any support for the channel. It's always great. So, but yeah, everyone, we have not had anything. I'm starving. I will say that first and foremost. So we have been live here for a little while. I mean, I feel like it's just a matter of time before this gets done. I'll hang out for a little bit more. I already know it. I'm going to end the stream, and then it's just going to happen, right? But at the end of the day, I got to go eat something. I'm freaking hungry. I'm not going off now. I'm just saying I might in the next, 20 minutes or so. But hopefully we get something. And I will be back here tonight. So that is, that is something to keep in mind. I will be back tonight. So there's probably going to be some more stuff happening in the next, several hours, I would imagine. But what do we got? JM, what is for lunch? Honestly, I got some rice. I got some leftover steak. Got some avocado. I don't know, man. Sounds like a recipe for success, if you ask me. Rule 5 draft in 45 minutes. Ooh, that's something maybe I could eat some lunch to. Brandon Dillman, time to go get that Costco pizza. Not a bad idea. Remember when I did the trade deadline stream? Remember when I did that? I sat here for 8 hours from 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. I got up from that, and I was wiped. I didn't even know what to do. I hadn't eaten all day. Oh, my God. I don't even remember what I even did. I can't even remember. What did I even do? I think I went and got Chick-fil-A. I think that's what I did. I went and got Chick-fil-A. I got 2 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I got a milkshake. It was awesome. Need that. Sam Sarah, how you doing? Robbie, do you think the Oakland A's should be moved to a AAA team next year? The Oakland A's, they're basically going to be like non-existent for the next 2-3 years, in my opinion. I wonder, I keep holding out hope that maybe they just go on like this incredible run. Could you imagine their final year in Oakland? They just go on this crazy run, like one last time, like for the fans. That'd be pretty cool. Or do they just kind of, just mail it in until they go to Vegas? Trevor, how you doing? $4.99. Thoughts on the Red Sox lottery pick, and who could you see as a fit? Yeah, the Red Sox getting the 12th pick. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really gone too far into the draft prospects. It seems like you got some decent position players near the top. Doesn't seem to be very pitching heavy at the moment. So there's definitely some position players. And you got a few of them at the top of the draft that are going to be coming out of college, right? So I believe Mazzana is one out of, is it Oregon State? I believe it's Oregon State. Could be wrong. But you got a few players, for the Red Sox. Hey, anything in the top 15, in my opinion, those are the picks that you need right now. Those are the picks that you need. As a fit, I'll be honest with you. I don't, if we were to go Caleb Rush, do you think the Pirates should look to trade Reynolds or Bednar? Potentially Bednar to the Yankees as a replacement. I don't think the Pirates trade them. I think the Pirates, Ben Cherington, man, he wants to start seeing some winning. That's what I think. I don't think Reynolds or Bednar are going anywhere. But let's take a look here. Let's go to Baseball America. Right? We did have the lottery last night. Did have the lottery. And we got the Rule 5 draft coming up. And actually, Baseball America, they even got a little bit of a preview on it. Who could we see in the Rule 5 draft? Right. So here's the draft order for the Rule 5 draft today. You got the Oakland A's. You got the Royals, Rockies, White Sox, Nationals, Cardinals, Angels, Mets, Pirates, and the Guardians in the top 10, followed by the Tigers, Red Sox, Giants, Reds, Padres, Yankees, Cubs, Marlins, Diamondbacks, and the Twins in the next tier. So, any? Oh, I'm not logged in. That's why. One second, everyone. Let me log in. Baseball America, if you're watching this for some reason, can you please do something? You guys log me out so much. I just want to be able to stay logged in. Is that too much to ask for? Here we go. Rule 5 draft. Well, actually, no. Let me go back to the Super Chat. Let me go back to the draft rankings. So here are the top college prospects for... Oh, that's for 2025. Let's do this. MLB draft prospects for Baseball America. Here we go. So here are the top prospects, right? As of right now. I mean, these things can always change, right? So at the top, you got guys like Nick Kurtz, J.J. Weatherholt, Bazzana, right? Caglianone. I'm sorry, Caglianone. I think I'm saying that right. Sirota, Honeycutt, Burns, got Seaver, King, Brady Montgomery, Tommy White. I'll be honest with you, I haven't fully looked into all these guys, right? I mean, I've read a little bit about like guys like Kurtz and Weatherholt, right? So those are guys that, definitely pay attention to for the top. Chase Burns is one of the top pitchers. I wouldn't mind. Maybe he drops to number 12. That'd be pretty cool. So let's take a look at the Rule 5 draft for today. I know Foolish Baseball loves the Rule 5 draft. All right, so the most likely guys to be picked. All right, so here are some of the guys for the Rule 5 draft. All right, you're looking at guys like Hudson Haskin, Tanner Burns. That's a name that we've seen in the last few years. Shane Drowan. That's a guy who had some decent upside in the Red Sox system, but he just never came, really living up to it. So other guys, we got Cameron Misner. We got Arias from the Marlins. Durden for the Astros. Blaine Crim for the Rangers. All right. So you got some names. So when it comes to power bats. Look out for guys like Steven Scott in the Red Sox system. This is a guy where he was mainly at AAA, but he's got some pop. He could be something, maybe some kind of a power hitter, right? He had the 462 slugging last year at AAA, right? So he's got some pop there, but overall, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. All right, what else we got? Michael Marino. We are losing people left and right. We are all getting tired and bored. Michael Marino. We'd like to talk about players and teams during the winter meetings, as we should. However, I think this is an even better time to reflect on the fantastic content that content creators and reporters are putting up this time of the year. Kudos to all who are making the most of it. Hey, Michael Marino, I hope that means me. And if you are referring to me, I appreciate that. And him as well. Michael Marino's been doing a great job. He's been doing awesome, man. Right? He's been all over this. Getting a spam call. But yeah, Michael Marino. Yeah, there's been a lot of, not just myself, but there's other content creators out there here on YouTube that we're just working, man. We're just really busting it out here. So, but High Life Boys, Bookies has an updated Ohtani odds. And everyone, I actually do have an announcement coming up, possibly in the next couple of days. So be on the lookout. Speaking of odds, might have a bit of an announcement in the next couple of days. So be on the lookout for that. But everyone, we don't really have too much going on right now. Honestly, I know we're kind of just waiting for that Jeff Passan tweet. And I know that could drop literally in the next 5 minutes. This trade is happening. It's only a matter of time. It's just there's paperwork, medicals, just fully agreeing on all the players involved. I don't know. I don't know what's taking so long exactly, but I don't know, man. I'm just saying this is pretty much a done deal. It's just a matter of getting the Jeff Passan tweet or getting the John Morosi tweet, maybe the Heyman tweet saying, okay, deal is done, right? So that's the only thing we're waiting for. It's just a matter of time, right? We'll have to wait and see. I'll give it a few more minutes here. I'll kind of hang out for a little bit. I'll take a look at the chat, right? But pretty much everyone, this is pretty much a done deal, right? Just waiting for the confirmation. So let me pull this up here. X, you're killing me right now. Here we go. This is the last substantial one that we had over an hour ago. John Morosi saying close to being finalized. Right. What do we got? High Life Boys. Do I like the Verdugo trade yesterday? Yeah, and for the Red Sox, they get a couple of guys, right? That, you got Fitz. I do like him, Richard Fitz, where, hey, he could fit in the bullpen. I'm sorry. I know that's probably an overused pun already. But no, he's got some pretty good stuff. Good fastball, good slider there as well. So I think he could end up being a decent piece for the bullpen for the Red Sox, at least in middle relief, right? Or maybe he could even end up being a setup guy at some point. I could see that. So very, I think that's a decent pickup. And for Verdugo, I wasn't really expecting all that much for Verdugo. At the end of the day, I was expecting pretty much exactly what we got, right? Maybe like a reliever, maybe like an organizational, we got something. Dang it, Heyman. We've already seen this like a million times. Yankees and Padres are working to finalize the Juan Soto deal, perhaps today. King and Thorpe expected to be part of the package heading to San Diego. God, man, these guys, they just announce it. For crying out loud. It's like, why keep tweeting this stuff out? I'm glad we got something to sink our teeth into a little bit, but what are you saying that's any different? It's nothing different. You're saying literally the same exact thing. I don't know what it is that goes into Like, what are they thinking when they're putting these tweets out? It's like, do they even think? Like, they've already basically said this? Like, so Heyman coming out here telling us that it's close to being finalized, that they're working to finalize it, and it could be today, but today could mean so many things. It's 1:30. Does that mean 4 o'clock? Does that mean 15 minutes? Right? It's like you're saying really nothing different, my guy. I mean, the one thing different he did say, right? He did include that King and Thorpe are expected to be part of the package. I'm still holding out, man. I'm still wondering, you know, are these guys going to actually be in the deal? We keep saying that they're expected. Does that actually mean they're going to be in the deal? Right? When you look at the Morosi tweet, it says it is expected to include King and Thorpe. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be in it. Scott Merkin, White Sox confirm the report that Jerry Reinsdorf met with Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell. Topics discussed are not being disclosed, so nothing beyond the confirmation. Well, why else would Jerry Reinsdorf be talking to the mayor of Nashville, who are also looking to get a baseball team? Obviously, you're looking at possibly. Could you imagine the White Sox, they move to Nashville? That'd be crazy. Yeah, Nick Patrick. That's why Passan is the best. He doesn't just repeat what others have said. You know, I can understand, like with Passan, I can agree with that because he's not out there just tweeting, right? Or posting. Is that the new term, right? He drops the bombs, right? That's what Passan does. And he'll post about any articles that he's written. Heyman, things are already percolating with Jung-Hoo Lee. Padres are a possible landing spot, especially if they complete Soto trade to the Yankees. Well, that's interesting. Jung-Hoo Lee would be a nice piece for them. Gimpleg, South Side to become the South guys. I like that. Well, also, I want to thank all the new subscribers that we've gotten today. And we've been hanging out here for quite a while. So I just want to say I appreciate that. I know we're kind of just waiting here. We're just waiting for something to happen. I'm not sure if we're going to get anything. I know I'm getting hungry. I'm starving right now. I'm dying. My back is tight right now. The hiney is falling asleep. But I do want to thank everyone that dropped a super chat during this stream, that became a new subscriber. Definitely appreciate that. And I will be going live tonight. So, my goal was to be live for something to break. And I thought maybe we could have gotten it at some point in the morning. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I will be live tonight. So if I don't end up being live during the breaking report, then oh well. What can you do? Son of Marak, Lee said he wants to play with Kim. That'd be pretty cool. That completely slipped my mind. Michael Marino, what do you got for us, my friend? Juan Soto spotted in New York, everyone. Juan Soto is in New York. There's the picture to prove it. Here we go. What do we got here? Sources tell me that the Mets are in here. They were in on Verdugo as well. So the Mets are looking at Michael Taylor, Harrison Bader, Manuel Margot, Kevin Kiermaier. All right, so the Mets, he's saying the Mets are involved with Jung-Hoo Lee. So don't count out the Mets. And I think Marino just put something else out. Did Marino just put something else out? Oh, Robert Murray. Robert Murray with a tweet. Let's take a look at this one. A bit of Yadier Molina news. The Cardinals have hired Yadier Molina as a special assistant to the president of baseball operations. You know what that tells me? Yadier Molina is eventually going to be the Cardinals manager. That dude is going to eventually be the manager, in my opinion. Brandon Weeks, Dodgers, I think, just struck out on Ohtani with Roberts blabbering. And what are my thoughts? I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I'm just speculating. I personally don't think it's that big of a deal, right? I think it's just going to come down to, who offers the best package, when it comes to the opportunity to win, the long-term health of the franchise, who's going to take care of Ohtani, right? Ohtani's doctors, right, that have worked on his elbow before, that did the procedure with him. They're with the Dodgers now, so that could maybe mean something. It's going to come down to, obviously, the money as well. It is interesting that Dave Roberts did say what he said, and it seemed like the people higher up with the Dodgers were a little surprised about that, according to the reports. I mean, Ohtani, this is a guy who he has his own values. Maybe that's something where he's just like, ugh, dude. Like, I don't know. Maybe that rubbed him the wrong way. Who knows? Honestly, I'm wondering if the Blue Jays are actually really gaining steam. I'm really wondering if the Blue Jays are gaining steam for Ohtani. They just seem like a threat to Ohtani, to be honest with you. I don't know, man. I would look out. Bob Nightingale on the Yadier Molina news. Yeah, everyone. I think I'm going to wrap this up. I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. I'm seeing the people in the chat just getting lower and lower and lower and lower. I don't know, man. I'm waiting for something, but I know I'm going to be live later tonight. So I'm sure we're going to have other reports. I'll try and give it a few more minutes here. But let's see. We got anything on MLB trade rumors? Let's see. What do we got on MLB trade rumors? Let's talk about Ohtani here. I think this is actually, obviously the Juan Soto news has been dominating today so far. But let's get back to Ohtani. John Morosi said earlier, the decision is expected by Sunday, the end of the week. Right? That's big to me. I wonder, man. When could that happen? Right? I hope it's not Saturday. Got some plans for Saturday. So hopefully he just freaking announces it by Friday. Man, Ohtani, it's freaking killing me, man. But yeah, John Morosi saying we're expecting a decision by the end of the week. So it's going to be interesting. But I wonder, could that mean we maybe have something? Honestly, you know what I keep thinking of with Ohtani? I keep thinking, with Ohtani, remember with Albert Pujols? Remember when he signed? It was that Friday after the winter meetings came to an end, right? I wonder if maybe Ohtani takes that same route, right? Where it's the end of the work week, right? So I wonder if maybe Friday ends up being it. I don't know, the weekend. Maybe he kind of meets with his people again over the weekend, right? He sits down with them on Saturday. Could he announce it Sunday night? I don't know. I would hope Friday. That would be helpful for me. I got stuff that I'm doing on Saturday, and obviously this is going to be like the biggest news of all time, so it would help. It would absolutely help if Ohtani just announced it by Friday, right? I usually don't. I like to kind of keep my personal life open on Saturdays, but it's like, I'm like a prisoner to Shohei Ohtani's free agency right now. So, yeah, Tommy, Ohtani's not going to drop today. I just wonder if it's going to be Friday. I don't know. I think what he's doing, right, if you think back, to all the reports that we've gotten on Ohtani, right? You think he met with the Giants over the weekend. He met with the Blue Jays. He met with the Dodgers as well. He met with the Blue Jays on Monday. They're probably huddling together, right? Maybe they're still negotiating with these teams. What's going on with the Angels? How much are the Angels still in it? For me personally, we saw the report that the Cubs are out, but I think honestly, but then you had Jed Hoyer come out and say, no, like that's not true, right? So what I think for the Cubs, you got to think for the Cubs, right? They want to keep that strong image, right? When it comes to like, no, we're in the Ohtani race, right? It just kind of makes them, because you got to think too, it's always leverage, right? You don't want other teams knowing your moves, right? You don't want other teams knowing what you're up to or what you're not up to. So that's why I think maybe Jed Hoyer got a little upset about it. It does feel like the Cubs are out. I don't know. I just haven't really heard any sort of positive things about the Cubs. You've heard a lot of positivity about the Blue Jays. The Giants have been in it. The Dodgers, besides Dave Roberts, everything seems pretty fine with the Dodgers. And then you got the Angels, who you cannot count out until the absolute end, right? Josh, you think after Ohtani signs, the rest of the dominoes start to fall quickly, or does it still stay slow? We get a few moves here and there. I think everyone, honestly, what did Morosi say? Please tell me Morosi said something good. For crying out loud. Oh, my God. I don't care about Michael Taylor. Why are the Red Sox involved for Michael Taylor? I don't want Michael Taylor. Michael Taylor is beginning to take shape. Sources say the Reds, Red Sox, and Blue Jays are among teams showing interest coming off a career-best 21 home run season. I don't care about Michael Taylor. I want just the Juan Soto breaking news. Give it to me. Please. Juan Soto's probably watching this right now and just laughing hysterically. Like, oh, look at this loser. He's sitting there on his stream waiting for the news to get announced. Ugh. Man, oh man. Kill me. Michael Taylor, everyone. The big splash. Michael Taylor. Where was I? Yeah, Josh, getting back to your comment. Yeah, I think once Ohtani is off the board, yeah, you're going to see Bellinger come off the board. Chapman, I think. Things are going to come together pretty quick. And also Yamamoto. I think Ohtani and Yamamoto, those two guys are really controlling the market right now, right? Until they fall, like you're not going to see, I think, a whole lot of other action, especially for guys like Blake Snell, even Montgomery, who I, do think there's a good chance he ends up going to the Red Sox, right? So, Jack, Ohtani literally said he didn't want anything public. Yeah, that's a big thing, right? I wouldn't say, now the difference, Jack, right, is the Blue Jays, they didn't necessarily leak it themselves. Who knows where that came from? We don't know. Like we had Ross Atkins, Schneider. They were very hush-hush. Like, they did not give out any details. Who knows where that report came from? The Giants, they've been very hush-hush, right? It seemed like with the Giants, someone saw Ohtani. You got to think, too. People, driving around, Oracle Park, they're keeping their eyes open, right? Oh, maybe I'll see Ohtani, right? You got to think, people walking around like, oh, wow, hey, that's Shohei Ohtani, right? I don't know. So that's the way I see it with the Giants, is someone just saw him, right? The only difference with the Dodgers is literally Dave Roberts literally said that they met with Ohtani. So I don't personally blame the Blue Jays, the Giants, and the Angels too. Ron Washington, Ron Washington was a little more interesting with how he said it, right? Because he said, like, oh, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So, I don't know. That makes me think, I'm not saying he's going to go back to the Angels, but I personally think, the Angels are definitely still in it, right? I don't think they're going to be out of it until the end, right? So, but I'm very curious to see what ends up happening with what unfolds with the Dodgers. I think that's juicy. Josh, I don't know if you talked about it already, but iTalk reported something about Montgomery and the Red Sox. Yeah, he tweeted out earlier that Montgomery was still a top priority, right? Or still a priority for them. You think that's their big move, or is that the secondary move to something bigger? I think at the end of the day, getting Montgomery makes you better, but it's not where you want to be, right? He definitely puts you in the right direction, but you need that Yamamoto signing, right? That's the big ticket that you need right there, right? It's kind of, go back to 2007 when the Red Sox were signing guys. Remember, they brought in J.D. Drew, right? They made some other signings as well. But Dice K was like that move, right, that you needed to make, right? And look where it got you. It got you an 2007 championship. So I think Montgomery is a nice piece, but it's not going to get you over the top, right? I'm not even, to me, even if it ends up being not being Yamamoto, the Red Sox need to go out and make moves, right? Whether that's, I think they would prefer Yamamoto, and then I think their fallback option, go out on the trade market, go get a cost-controlled starter like Logan Gilbert, right? I think Logan Gilbert would be a top option for them to see if they could pry him away from the Mariners. But yeah, number one goal, Yamamoto. So Montgomery, good, but you need more, right? Brandon, I hope he signs with the Angels just so everyone gets mad. Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be hilarious. It'd be very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. Mitch, how you doing, my friend? The worst thing for baseball is Ohtani go back to the Angels after the anger from casual fans at the deadline. That would be horrible. Oh, you wouldn't hear the end of it. Angels fans would be just on cloud 9. Like, my goodness. Josh, follow-up question. Is it worth it for them to trade Bayo for someone like Gilbert or Kirby? No, don't trade Bayo. No, definitely worth it to keep him. You can figure out a trade without him. So, thoughts on what the Orioles will do? I think, honestly, what you saw with Kimbrel today, them signing Kimbrel, I think, honestly, these are the kind of moves that you're probably going to see the Orioles make. They're not going to make the splashes. Bob Nightingale put out an article. Let's go look at this article. And then Michael Marino talking about the Mets and David Stearns. But let's take a look at Bob Nightingale's article here. Juan Soto to the Yankees, momentum building towards the trade with the Padres. The San Diego Padres and the Yankees are nearing a blockbuster deal that would send Juan Soto to the Bronx. And although a trade has not been finalized, two people with direct knowledge of the talks said Wednesday there is significant momentum. The persons spoke to USA Today Sports on the condition of I can never say that word. Anonymity, because negotiations are ongoing. Scott Boras, Soto's agent, said Wednesday that he has not been informed by the Padres that a deal is on the verge of being finalized, but he has no doubts that Soto would thrive with the Yankees. The handful of times that Juan has played at Yankee Stadium in his career, Boras said, Juan has enjoyed the experience. I think anytime you have a 1.200 or 1,300 OPS anywhere, you enjoy it. He does have a number of ballparks he hits well in, but Yankee Stadium is one of them. If my memory serves me correctly, it would be safe to say that it's one of his favorite ballparks to hit. When you're Juan Soto, you kind of show up and every ballpark's a favorite, but I know he hits well there, right? So looking at his career numbers at Yankee Stadium, has a 12.19 OPS, hitting 261, 4 homers, and 23 at-bats. So yeah, that's why I think Juan Soto has a very good chance of staying with the Yankees long term. Because he likes hitting there. He likes being there. It's pinstripes. It's the pinstripes that legends have worn. Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig. You know? Juan Soto, for me, I think he's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. He just makes sense to be a Yankee for life. To me, I think he would be ecstatic about going to the Yankees. I think he would be so happy to go to the Yankees. I think when he went to the Padres, I think like, okay, cool. All right, cool. I'm going to the Padres. Let's go try and win this thing. They got some players over there. Let's go try and win a championship. Last year was a dud. So I think at this point, he's like, you know what? I'd just rather be a Yankee, right? This is something different about putting pinstripes on, you know? So, Ryan Lute, the Yankees payroll is so wild over the next 10 years. Yeah, dude, their payroll is going to be through the roof if they got Soto on it for this coming year. Goodness gracious. Dead shot. How does he like hitting there when he's barely played there? I mean, if you've had a few games, that's all you need, right? If he's played a few games at Yankee Stadium and he's had success at Yankee Stadium, right? It doesn't, just because he hasn't played there a whole bunch doesn't mean that you can't say he enjoys it. If you play there one time and you just say, hey, that one game that I played, I liked it there. Just saying. Hey, Zeus Rodriguez, $10 super chat. Hey, Robbie, hope all is well. Hey, Zeus, I hope all is well with you, my friend. Slow winter meetings. Any reason why this has been so slow? Thanks for everything. Hey, Zeus, thank you for everything, my friend. Yeah. 2 words. Shohei Ohtani. Right? He's holding up everything, in my opinion. Yamamoto, I think, is holding up the pitching market. Aaron Nola, that was different. He went back to the Phillies. Sonny Gray was not one of these guys like Blake Snell is going to get a top deal, right? Sonny Gray was a more digestible contract, and the Cardinals, they just kind of maneuvered around everything, right? And they went and got Sonny Gray. So I just think it's Ohtani and Yamamoto, honestly. Evan, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Brandon, it's crazy how the Yankees and the Padres essentially had the same season, but one team is blowing it up while the other is in on every big name. Yeah, man. Well, the Padres, I don't necessarily think are blowing it up. I wouldn't say they're blowing it up. I just think they're trying to retool a little bit, and they also have to work with their payroll constraints, right? So they're kind of just doing things for business reasons, right? That doesn't necessarily mean they're blowing it up, though, right? They're just trying to work within their constraints, right? And they're just, they're playing with the cards they got dealt. So as for the Yankees, listen, you can say what you will about the Yankees every day, no matter what you want, but the Yankees, at the end of the day, are one of the richest sports franchises in history, right? One of arguably the most valuable sports franchise in the world, right? It's just how it is, man. It's how it is. Andre, Yankees have unlimited payroll. Yeah, they do. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go spend it, right? As we've seen over the last few years. They've definitely had some high payrolls, but they're not going crazy like the Mets have been. So, but, I don't know, everyone. I don't know. I think eventually a deal is going to get done at some point. I know I'm going to end the stream and then something's going to happen within the next hour. But to me, it's like, you know what? We got up to 800 people in this stream today, I believe. Did we get up to 800 people in this stream? How many did we get? How many people? What was the... I don't know. I feel like I think we were above 700 at one point. But I don't remember. Anyway, it was a good stream overall. All right, a lot of super chats. We are almost at 600 likes, everyone. We are very close. We are 23 likes away from 600 likes for a live stream. That's pretty dandy, if you ask me. We've been here for over 3 hours at this point. Nothing has gotten done. I don't know. What else we got? Anything new? Nothing new. And thank you for everyone that's followed me on Twitter today. If you have followed me on Twitter, thank you. And if anyone else, if you got an X account, feel free. Go follow me. So, Brandon, do you think baseball would be better if they were more like the NFL with a hard salary cap and floor? I think for us, for entertainment purposes, that would go, I think, very well for us, right? But for the players, that would definitely hurt the players, right? For us, like, we would see those signings because at the end of the day, it's a matter of, you get the max contract, and basically at that point, you're just picking what team you want to play for, right? So, yeah, I think it would be helpful for us, the viewer, if there was a salary cap. But for the players, they're just trying to make their money. Andre, who do you think is getting Yamamoto? I predicted the Red Sox. I think if it's not the Red Sox, it really depends on Ohtani, too. If the Dodgers don't get Ohtani, I think they're a real threat to land him. I think Steve Cohen going out to Japan and meeting with Yamamoto himself, I think that's pretty big. Right? That's massive. I think the Cubs, if they are out on Ohtani, that's massive. The Giants historically don't usually spend money on pitching, but that could be something too. It really depends on the Ohtani market, really. So, what else we got? Robert, the world? Yes, the world. The Yankees are one of the biggest sports franchises in the world. Yes, I understand you got some soccer teams out there, right? You got, the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, teams like that, right? But the Yankees are absolutely right up there, right? Let me actually look here. Let's go to Forbes. Most valuable sports franchises in the world. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be ahead, or maybe they would be. I don't know. But let's see. You are definitely right about the sports franchises when it comes to soccer. Absolutely. Well, let's take a look here. Where are those teams? Well, number one, don't forget about the Dallas Cowboys. Don't forget about the Cowboys. They're actually number one on this list, according to Forbes. All right? I might blow your mind a little bit, right? But the Dallas Cowboys, they are pretty massive, right? Then at number two, you got the Yankees. I don't know. The Golden State Warriors, that's interesting to me. I find that interesting. The Patriots don't feel like number three at the moment. Don't feel like it. The Rams, too. I don't know about that. But where are, like Real Madrid? I'm actually surprised. I thought Real Madrid would have a much higher value than that. Manchester United. I don't know about that. Washington Commanders ahead of Manchester United? I don't know about that. That feels a little weird to me. What do I know, though? I got a potato brain over here. Like Barcelona, really? Number 18? I don't know about that. But no, whatever it ends up being, absolutely the Yankees are definitely top three. Like, if you go anywhere in the world, you'll see someone wearing a Yankee hat, even if they don't even know what it even is. You see Yankee hats like all over the place, right? So, back to it here. Rob Bradford, what did you say to us, my friend? Hey, Foolish Baseball is live. Got the Rule 5 draft. Everyone, hey, Foolish Baseball is live. Foolish Baseball is live. I bet that's a pretty fun stream. Pretty fun stream. And then the voice of Joe Castiglione. Rob Bradford's tweeting a lot about him today. Scott Lauber said 28 minutes ago, more to come, but Bryce Harper is hoping to discuss a contract extension to stay with the Phillies for the rest of his career. I was about to say, Micah Marino said, is he not signed through his age 38 season? So I guess he wants to stay there till he's 50. I don't know. Noah, what do you think of Michael Taylor? His Hit 20 homers last year. That's fine. Got some speed. I think he's fine. I don't know. But everyone, I think I might actually, I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's right about 2 o'clock now. It's right about 2 o'clock. Also, did anyone else feel this yesterday when you saw the Verdugo picture? All I saw was John Travolta with the little goatee. I thought that was all I could see. That was all I could see. But what do we got here? Randy Miller. Oh, that tweet got deleted. But yeah, everyone, I think I'm gonna start wrapping this up. Listen, I gotta eat. I haven't eaten today. I am starving. My goodness. But Flob Martino, what did Martino say? Martino. What is Martino saying? Oh, okay. We got a little something from Martino here. Martino saying, sounds like a decent chance the Soto to Yankees trade will be done within a few hours. They're working on details. It is crazy to me, like these guys, these reporters, and they just, I get it, typing can be pretty annoying when, you're trying to tweet something out, but good grief. Can you just look out for the freaking typos? I mean, you're going to get the clicks anyway. You're going to get people reacting to your tweets. Can you take the extra 5 seconds to make sure there are no grammatical errors? Nothing. I get it, but like, good grief. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, so Martino, I mean, I've been saying this. It's going to get done. They're working on the details. They're working on medicals, working on paperwork. What other little things that we're not thinking of. The deal is done, in my opinion. Maybe there's still a holdup on like 1 or maybe 2 players. I just personally think, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think it's getting done. But yeah, everyone, think I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to start wrapping this up. I am starving, and I actually have a couple of things that I got to work on. But everyone, I want to thank you for stopping by today. We got a lot of super chats today. Got a lot of people in here at one point, a lot of new subscribers. So I do want to thank you for just stopping by and saying, hey, I appreciate that. Jose Rojas, what am I going to eat? I don't even know. Anything that's in my fridge at this point. I'm starving. All I've had is coffee, right? This is literally all I've had today. I woke up. I went to the gym. I got myself a lift in, and I came home, and I literally hopped right on here. I haven't eaten anything. I usually don't eat before the gym. I don't like training on, like, if I go in the morning, I don't like going to the gym on, like, with anything in my stomach. Really, it's like, I don't like it. So I always wait. If I train in the morning, I always eat after I get back. Yeah, but all I had to eat today after I came back from the gym was Juan Soto almost to the Yankees. Almost. I know, Eric, I can see it. As soon as I get off the stream, something's going to break. But maybe I need to get off the stream. Maybe I need to get off the stream for something to happen. Maybe that's my purpose in life. Once the streams end, maybe that's what the world needs for stuff to happen. I don't know. But everyone, I'm out of here. But I will be back later on. I'm going to be doing the nightly show. I'm guessing we're going to have something else. And, if we end up getting the news in the next few hours, I'll see, because I'll probably end up doing a stream around like 8:30. That's our normal show. And, and maybe I'll just wait and hold off until that time. Or maybe if I'm feeling like it, I'll go live again. All right, we'll see. But I got to get out of here. I'm freaking dead. I'm dead. Everyone, if you can, one more time on the way out, hit that like button for me. I will love you forever. And we are 4 likes away from 600. If you can make that happen, I will love you. So, also, Michael Marino, one more time, David Stearns accompanying Steve Cohen to go visit Yamamoto. That's interesting. Everyone, have yourself a great rest of your next few hours. I will be back later on. Make sure the notifications are turned on, and we'll be back later. And I'm guessing we will have a Juan Soto trade done, but this trade, it's pretty much done. It's only a matter of time. Juan Soto, in my opinion, is a New York Yankee. So, everyone, have yourself a great rest of your next few hours. I'll be back later tonight, and I'll talk to you next time.